Chapter 590. Really live and learn Onsenval. Siamikron M1 Jintian Sir. The guest rooms in this restaurant are full. Why don't you go to other houses to take a look? The waiter in Yijian said to Xiao Changtian and Jiang Beichen with a smile. When Xiao Changtian and Jiang Beichen heard the waiter's words, they smiled bitterly. After leaving the tea stall, Xiao Changtian took Jiang Beichen to ask around. He didn't expect this town to be so short of housing. The guest rooms in the few inns were all full. Seeing Xiao Changshan's bitter smile, Jiang Beichen said to the waiter, "Waiter, are there really no more rooms?" Seeing Jiang Beichen's fierce expression, the waiter was also shocked. The people who came to the town these few days were either rich or noble. It was said that a few days ago in another inn, a waiter had offended a cultivator. In the end, his legs were broken, and he could only lie at home for the rest of his life. "Beichen, forget it. I'll go to other houses to take a look," Xiao Changtian said slowly to Jiang Beichen. The influence that the ancient tomb brought to the town was beyond Xiao Changshan's imagination. Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, the waiter touched his chest and exhaled slowly. "Sir, there is actually another place that you can try. There might be a place to stay." Xiao Changtian, who was disappointed, heard the waiter's words and his eyes lit up. "Oh, where is it?" At this time, the waiter also brought Xiao Changtian and Jiang Beichen to the entrance. Pointing at the path in front of him, he said to Xiao Changtian slowly, "Go straight from here, then turn left. After walking for a while, there's a large courtyard. There is a rental notice on it, but the owner is a little strange." "No charge?" Jiang Beichen asked doubtfully when he heard the waiter's words. "Yes, that's an old man with a strange temper. If you're in a hurry to move in, you can try your luck at his place." At this moment, the waiter explained. As a waiter in an inn, he only knew this much. Xiao Changtian thanked the waiter. Then, he brought Jiang Beichen to a house according to the route. Notice for rent. Anyone who can answer this old man's questions can stay in this shop for 3 nights for free. Seeing the notice on the wall of the mansion, Xiao Changtian slowly read out. At the same time, Jiang Beichen had also walked to the front door of the residence. Bang! 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 With a knock on the door, an old man in a yellow Taoist robe slowly walked out. After casually glancing at Xiao Changtian and Jiang Beichen, the old man walked inside. "Come in." Hearing the old man's words, Xiao Changtian and Jiang Beichen followed the old man to the courtyard. At this moment, the old man brought over 2 chairs from somewhere. "Sit." The 3 of them sat at a table. The old man said to Xiao Changtian slowly, "Where did the 2 of you come from?" "My disciple and I came here to find an array master." Xiao Changtian sat on the chair and smiled at the old man. It seemed that this old man was quite approachable. The old man's eyelids twitched when he heard Xiao Changshan's words. "Then what kind of treasures do you have to prepare? You have to know that it's not easy to hire an array master." "It's nothing. It's just food and accommodation." Xiao Changtian told the truth. After all, there were all kinds of expenses on the island. He did not have the extra money to hire an array master. "Ha ha ha." The old man laughed when he heard Xiao Changshan's words. Food and accommodation included. This person was quite interesting. The old man had let Xiao Changtian and Jiang Beichen in, because he couldn't see through their auras. He could sense that Xiao Changtian and Jiang Beichen didn't have any aura. But as the saying goes, the unknown was the scariest. "What's so funny? Can we stay here?" Xiao Changtian asked the old man when he saw him smile. When the old man heard Xiao Changshan's words, he shook his head and made a one gesture to Xiao Changtian. "Answer this old man's question. What do the 2 of you think of the immortal emperor's tomb?" Hearing about the ancient tomb, Xiao Changtian smiled at the old man and said, "That kind of opportunity, we can just watch the show. When we have nothing to do, we can also treat it as a topic of conversation." The old man was stunned when he heard Xiao Changshan's words. "Why don't you 2 go to that ancient tomb to investigate?" Hearing the old man's words, Xiao Changtian also looked at the old man in surprise. "Forget it. Aren't people like us going to die?" This group of cultivators was fighting for opportunities there, while the few mortals here went. If he wasn't going to die, then what was he going to do? Moreover, he was facing an old man. Xiao Changshan's words made the old man frown. Do you think this old man will die if I go? Xiao Changtian looked at the old man and nodded. Of course. It would be strange if an old man like you didn't die in an ancient tomb of a cultivator. Then, Xiao Changtian took out a small notebook from his pocket. Old man, if you're interested in cultivation, you can take this over to take a look. The old man took the book from Xiao Changshan's hand and saw the words, Complete Understanding of Formations. Then after flipping it open, his entire person was attracted by it. The hand holding the book was trembling. He said to Xiao Changtian with a trembling mouth, Where did you get this book? I wrote this book. If you like it, you can take it. Can we stay here now? In order to avoid trouble, Xiao Changtian wrote the entire explanation of the formation himself. The old man was excited when he heard Xiao Changshan's words. Of course. The array formation in this book was definitely the strongest he had ever seen in his life. Xiao Changtian ignored the old man when he saw the old man enjoying the whole array. Then she brought Jiang Beichen inside. He didn't expect this old man to be so interested in a book that was similar to a complete explanation of teaching materials. It was really a life and death lesson. At the same time, a group of figures slowly appeared in the air above the town. The figure in the middle of the crowd was dressed in white and Taoist robes. He held an exquisite abacus in his hand. This person was Zuo Yuan. Behind him were the other elders and disciples of the Array sect. Obviously, Zuo Yuan had prepared a lot for this trip to the Immortal Emperor's tomb. When Zuo Yuan appeared, there were also different teams coming from different directions in the town. Chapter 591. Zuolian's Invitation 1 Zhenvel. Siamacronim 10,000 Array sky above the town. A few squads slowly appeared above the town. On the east side of the town, the leader was a woman in red. The woman had snow-white skin and a slender figure. One look, and one could tell that she was the best in the world. The old man behind her, judging from the aura he exuded, was definitely an expert. On the other side of the town, a man slowly appeared with a team. The man held a feather fan in his hand and had a warm smile on his face. The people behind him also revealed a strong aura. Zuo Yuan looked at the two groups and smiled at them. I didn't expect that Treasure Pill Heaven would also come to my Myriad Array Heaven to search for treasures. Hearing Zuo Yuan, the red-clothed woman covered her mouth and chuckled. When her body shook, the large white rabbit in front of her also shook violently. Of course, this opportunity belongs to the capable. Do you still want to chase him out? As she spoke, the red-clothed woman looked at Zuo Yuan with an extremely resentful gaze. While the red-clothed lady was speaking, the jade-faced man on the other side also slowly said, We naturally welcome the Purple Pill sect to our Myriad Array sky. My White Jade sect has long sought advice. Okay, big sister will wait for you. While the red-clothed woman and the jade-faced man were talking, an elder of the Array sect also came to Zuo Yuan's side. Sect master, what should we do? Ignore them for now. Third brother, come with me. The rest of you, wait at the entrance of the ancient tomb. As Zuo Yuan finished speaking, the other Array sect elders also nodded. Then, Zuo Yuan said to the woman in red and the jade-faced man, Everyone, the Immortal Emperor's ancient tomb is about to open. The opportunities inside will depend on your own abilities. I'll take my leave first. As soon as he finished speaking, Zuo turned into a streak of light and disappeared into the sky. Xiao Changshan's residence in the air. Two streams of light streaked past, revealing two figures. They were Zuo and the Array sect's third elder. When Zuo and the Array sect's third elder appeared, the old man also appeared in the mansion. Zuo landed on the ground and slowly said to the old man, Lin Changfeng, a straightforward person won't beat around the bush. You know our purpose for coming here this time. Why don't we go explore the Immortal Emperor's tomb together? Lin Changfeng did not respond to Zuo words. He slowly walked to the table. He poured a cup of tea and tasted it. Lin Changfeng's actions seemed to be somewhat out of Zuo Yuan's expectations. Lin Changfeng, the top-grade immortal weapon in the Immortal Emperor's tomb, should be very important to you, right? You must know that back then. Enough. Before Zuo could finish speaking, he saw Lin Changfeng slam the teacup in his hand onto the table. Don't mention that. You guys can go back. I'm not going to the ancient tomb this time. Then, Lin Chongfeng directly ordered Zhuo Shuyuan and the others to leave. Not going? Lin Chongfeng, the sect master invited you because he gave you face. Don't be so shameless. At this moment, the third elder of the Array sect pointed at Lin Chongfeng and shouted angrily. The Array sect's third elder was about to continue speaking when Zhuo Luyan stretched out his hand to stop him. The true essence in his hand flashed, and an array formation rose up in the house. Brother Eternal Wind, please. Lin Chongfeng looked at the array in the house, and a smile flashed across his face. He casually spilled the tea in the teacup to the side. Whoosh! The array that Zhuo Luyan had created had been destroyed by him at will. Please go back. At this moment, Lin Chongfeng stood up from his chair and ordered him to leave again. Zhuo Luyan was also shocked when he saw Lin Chongfeng casually break his array formation. When Lin Chongfeng competed with him in array formations, it was not so easy. Could it be that he had a breakthrough in a short period of time? Zhuo Luyan's eyes flickered as he cupped his fists at Lin Chongfeng. Since that's the case, the opportunity to become an immortal emperor is not fated with Brother Chongfeng. Although Zhuo Luyan still had an even more powerful formation that he had yet to use. However, judging from the strength that Lin Chongfeng had just displayed, it was obvious that he was a powerful man. If he did not pay a price, he would not be able to beat him into submission. Thinking about the possible competition in the ancient tomb, Zhuo Luyan chose not to continue fighting. After turning around and taking a few steps, Zhuo Luyan suddenly said to Lin Chongfeng, Lin Chongfeng, although your attainments in array formations have improved again, you still have a lot of time left. But this time in the ancient tomb, as long as the two of us work together, we'll have more confidence. With a top-grade immortal weapon, it will be much easier for you to do things in the future. Lin Chongfeng responded slowly after hearing Zhuo Luyan's words. Thank you for your good intentions, Sect Master Zhuo. However, I'm not fated to go to the ancient tomb this time. By the way, I would like to give sect leaders a piece of advice. It's best that you don't go to the ancient tomb this time. Lin Changfeng's improvement in formation skills was due to the complete understanding of formations given to him by Xiao Changtian. Lin Changfeng's comprehension had deepened over the past few days. The understanding of array formations inside was something that he had not touched upon. With it, what kind of opportunity in the ancient tomb did it matter to him? A book from a senior was comparable to an entire ancient tomb. However, out of respect for Xiao Changtian, Lin Chongfeng did not reveal his existence. Zhuo Luyan felt that Lin Chongfeng had a hidden meaning in his words, but he did not know what it was exactly. At this moment he frowned. When the array sect's third elder heard Lin Changfeng's words, he shouted at Lin Chongfeng, You're afraid of death and don't dare to go. Don't scare people here. Our array sect will gladly accept the opportunities in the ancient tomb. As soon as the array sect's third elder finished speaking, Zhuo Luyan brought him and flew towards the ancient tomb. Lin Chongfeng looked in the direction that the array sect's third elder and Zhuo Shuyuan left and shook his head. He could only say that. Then, he sat down at the table beside him and began to read the complete solution to the array formation. At the same time, Xiao Changtian walked out of the room with Jiang Beichen. Seeing Xiao Changtian about to leave, Lin Chongfeng greeted him. Senior, are you going out? Seeing Lin Chongfeng holding the array and laughing, Xiao Changtian said to him slowly, Yeah, I went out for a walk to find an array master. After resting for a few days at the old man's place, Xiao Changtian also knew that those Xiaxianists were going to enter that ancient tomb today. Since those Xiaxianists weren't around, it was a good opportunity for him to find an array master. After all, those powerful array masters had nothing to do with him, because he could not afford to hire them at all. Those weaker array masters would definitely not go in and die. At this time, they might be able to pick up a loophole. After Xiao Changtian and Jiang Beichen left the courtyard, Lin Chongfeng sighed. It seemed that his cultivation was not enough to catch the senior's eye. He still had to learn more. With that thought in mind, Lin Chongfeng held the complete solution of the array formation and looked at it more seriously. Chapter 592, Opening of the Ancient Tombs Nvel. Xiaomacronim on the street in the sky of 10,000 arrays, Xiao Changtian and Jiang Beichen were walking on the streets of the town, looking at the increasingly dazzling red clouds in the sky. It seemed that the immortal cultivator's opportunity had opened. With this thought in mind, Xiao Changtian brought Jiang Beichen to a forest. It was said that there were many old cultivators in the deep mountains and forests. As long as you were lucky enough, they might even give you an opportunity. Xiao Changtian also brought Jiang Beichen into the mountain to see if he could get an array master for free. Meanwhile, outside the ancient tomb, Zuoshu Yuan and the array sect's elder stood in the air beside him. The red-robed woman led Bao Dan Heaven's team, and the jade-faced man led the white jade sect's disciples. Everyone this ancient tomb is about to open, who is interested in exploring it first. At this time, Zuoshu Yuan also slowly said to the other two teams, "Since this ancient tomb is open, does sect leaders will have any way to enter? Don't tell me sect master, Zwa wants a weak girl like me to scout the way for you." At this time, the red-clothed woman also looked at Zuoshu Yuan and let out a pleasant laugh. "Let's see where this tomb ends up." At this moment, the jade-faced man stood up and said slowly. As he spoke, the ancient tomb slowly moved in the air. Finally, it landed on a mountain peak. Soon, all the women in red, all the men in blue, all the men in red, all the people in blue, all the people in blue, all the people in red, 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 all the mountains. Looking at the ancient tomb in front of them, all the cultivators present felt pity for him. The jade-faced man looked at the ancient tomb in front of him and took the lead to walk out. Waving the feather fan in his hand, he launched a series of attacks on the stone door of the ancient tomb. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As the jade-faced man waved his hands, a few wind blades tore through the sky and struck the stone door. As the jade-faced man's attack landed, everyone's gaze also turned to the stone door. After the dust settled, the stone door was actually intact. How is that possible? The jade-faced man exclaimed in disbelief when he saw that the stone door was undamaged. His cultivation base had also reached the immortal king realm. Although he did not use his full strength just now, it was not to the extent that he did not even break a stone door. Let me try. At this time, the array sect's third elder, who was beside Zuoshu Yuan, also stood out. The true essence in his hand surged, and a huge flame array appeared in the air. 10,000 flames rushing attack, the array sect's third elder shouted. Following that, the large array spat out a long flame dragon. A few flaming dragons intertwined together, and then attacked the stone door. Bang! When the flaming dragon crashed into the stone door, it only left a trace of charcoal on the stone door. Seeing that the attack of the array sect's third elder was ineffective, everyone was once again shocked. As expected of an ancient tomb left behind by an immortal emperor, after being attacked twice in a row, it was actually not damaged at all. At this time, Zuoshu Yuan also slowly said, "Everyone, in my opinion, this stone door probably can't be broken through by external forces. There should be some kind of formation mechanism." Not long after Zuoshu Yuan finished speaking, the woman in red smiled at him and said, "Since you want to break the formation, I will have to trouble sect master Zwa." Zuoshu Yuan seemed to have anticipated that the woman in red would say this, and waved his sleeve. "It's not impossible for our array sect to break the array. You have to pay a price. After all, we can't let the array sect bear all the risks." As he spoke, Zuoshu Yuan also looked at the red-clothed woman and the jade-faced man. The red-clothed woman and the jade-faced man looked at each other when they heard Zuoshu Yuan's words. I wonder what kind of financial aid sect masters will want. Hearing the woman in red's words, Zhuoxiu Yuan also made a two gesture. Each of you will send out a powerful person to be my formation core. Of course, my array sect will also send out an elder. Hearing Zhuoxiu Yuan's words, the red-clothed woman and the jade-faced man pondered for a moment. Then he said to Zhuoxiu Yuan, "All right, we will listen to sect leader Zhua." After obtaining the agreement of both parties, Zhuoxiu Yuan's body also lit up. As he muttered, a huge array formation formed in front of the stone door. "Everyone please stand on the formation core. I will activate the formation later." It resonates with the formation on the stone door. "Everyone, open the stone door according to your feelings." Upon hearing Zhuoxiu Yuan's words, an old man walked out from the array faction, the red-clothed woman, and the jade-faced man. They stood at the positions designated by Zhuoxiu Yuan. Zhuoxiu Yuan started to operate the array. Everyone also saw the embryonic form of an array slowly appear on the stone door. In the end, more and more lines appeared on the stone door, echoing with the array that Zhuoxiu Yuan had cast. Whoosh! The formation emitted a dazzling light. Then, Zhuoxiu Yuan slowly said to the three people at the eye of the array, "Everyone wait for the right moment. You are also at the center of the formation above the stone door. Find the right time to destroy them." Upon hearing Zhuoxiu Yuan's words, the three people on top of the array also hurriedly gathered the true essence on their bodies. Open mountain seal. A palm print slowly appeared in the hand of the red-robed woman's elder. When the palm print appeared, it also carried a shocking power as it attacked the stone door. Bang! The huge palm print hit the stone door, and the array on the stone door dimmed a little. Following that, a wave of falling rocks fell. Seeing this situation, everyone's faces were filled with joy. However, the joy on his face did not last long before the stone door shook. The falling stones gathered together again, and then the stone door emitted a red light. It passed through the elder on the red-robed woman's side. Aha! After being hit by the array formation, the elder also let out a series of miserable cries. At this time, the woman in red also looked at Zhuoxiu Yuan fiercely. Feeling the gaze of the woman in red, Zhuoxiu Yuan also smiled at her. Normal. Although he said this, his heart was indeed a little turbulent. This didn't make sense. It was different from what he had expected. Logically speaking, a corner of the previous one should have been broken. Then, Zhuoxiu Yuan said to the three of them, "Everyone, you have to attack together. Otherwise, this stone door won't be broken." Hearing Zhuoxiu Yuan's words, the few of them looked at each other. A few powerful palm prints attacked the array core. When their attacks landed, the stone door also emitted a commotion. Under everyone's expectant gazes, three red lights shot out and pierced through the heads of the three elders. Chapter 593, Changes in the Cave Wuxia. Xiaomicron M 10,000 Array Sky, the mountain peak where the ancient tomb was located. Bang! 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 The mountain peak trembled, and Xiao Changtian, who was walking in the forest, could not help but curse. F***ck. Do these Xiaxianists still want to stop? Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, a golden light flashed on Zulong's body. At this moment, the ground in front of the ancient tomb shook. The woman in red and the jade-faced man steadied themselves and scolded Zhuoxiu Yuan. "Zhuoxiu Yuan, what did you do?" At this time, Zhuoxiu Yuan was also unable to take care of himself. He could no longer maintain the original array in his hands. Looking at the array above the stone gate, he was dumbfounded. It didn't make sense. Why wasn't the array on the stone door broken? With this thought in mind, a golden light flashed in the air and entered the stone door. Whoosh! As the golden light poured into the stone door, it seemed to have received a huge impact. With a bang, it turned into a burst of gravel that scattered in all directions. When the stone door shattered, the trembling of the ground stopped. Zhuoxiu Yuan saw the stone door suddenly being destroyed and was somewhat confused. However, seeing that the ancient tomb did not change again, he covered his beard and said to the other two, "Did you see that? I said that I would open the stone door, so I will naturally open it. As for those few, my condolences." Seeing that the stone door had been broken, the red-robed woman and the jade-faced man did not say anything. Then, with a wave of his hand, The elders behind him turned into black shadows and slipped in. Sect Master, we also. Seeing the people of the White Jade sect and the Purple Pill sect rush into the ancient tomb, an array sect elder also said to Zhuoxuyuan, "Don't worry, we'll just follow behind them." At this time, Zhuoxuyuan also slowly responded to the array sect elder. To be honest, he did not understand how the stone door had opened. Now that the Purple Pill sect and White Jade sect's people took the initiative to enter, it was naturally for them to go in and scout the way. As he thought about this, Zhuoxuyuan's mouth curled into a sneer. At the same time in the forest, Xiao Changtian brought Jiang Beichen's figure through the forest. Then he slowly arrived in front of a cave. He saw the faint light from the cave. Xiao Changtian said to Jiang Beichen who was beside him, "Beichen, let's go in and take a look." There were only two possibilities for encountering such a cave here. Or it was a place where some cultivators lived in seclusion, or it was the residence of some demon beasts. Therefore, Xiao Changtian walked in front of Jiang Beichen and picked up a wooden stick from the ground. After lighting it up with a match, they slowly advanced into the cave. Whoosh! After walking for some distance, Xiao Changtian let out a sigh of relief. It seemed that his luck was quite good. There were different totems carved on the stone walls on both sides of the cave. From the looks of it, it should be the residence of some immortal cultivators. Those wild beasts and demonic beasts did not know how to carve these totems. While walking, Xiao Changtian pressed his hand on the totem on the stone wall. After Xiao Changtian walked past, the totems that Xiao Changtian pressed on all emitted a bright light. In the ancient tomb, as the light rose, on a corridor of the ancient tomb, whoosh, 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 a few crossbows suddenly shot out from the walls on both sides of the corridor, and countless poisonous arrows flew out. Many Array sect, Purple Pill sect, and White Jade sect elders were caught off guard and died from the arrows. Don't panic, don't panic. At this moment, the jade-faced man's true essence surged, forming an invisible protective barrier around him. The surrounding poisonous arrows hit the protective shield and emitted waves of smoke. When the jade-faced man attacked, the red-clothed woman and Zhuoxuyuan also attacked. It blocked all the poisonous arrows that were flying over from the surroundings. Soon, under the cover of everyone, Zhuoxuyuan and the others also passed through a long corridor. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The jade-faced man pressed down on a stone pillar and panted heavily. At the same time, Zhuoxuyuan and the others also found themselves in front of a palace. Looking at the palace in front of him, Zhuoxuyuan's heart was also filled with excitement. From the aura coming out of the palace, it was obvious that this was the place where the supreme-grade immortal weapons were stored. However, having learned his lesson, he did not rush toward the palace first. After resting for a while, he realized that there was no movement in the palace. An elder of the White Jade sect also plucked up his courage and took the lead to walk towards the palace. Everyone's attention was also attracted by him. At the same time, under the mountain peak of the ancient tomb, Xiao Changtian wandered around the cave. He had seen many totems, but he had never seen a human figure. Forget it, he might as well wait here for a while. With this thought in mind, Xiao Changtian also went to rest in the cave. Then, he picked up a small stone and threw it at the totem in front of him. Whoosh! The stone was thrown onto the wall, and the stone wall emitted a burst of light. Seeing this, Xiao Changtian quickly leaned against the wall. This seemed to be the place he was looking for. Could this totem have been left behind by some immortal cultivator? Looking at the wall, Xiao Changtian was also interested. Then he walked to the wall. He touched the wall, and the totem on the wall dimmed. Inside the ancient tomb, the elder of the White Jade sect was slowly walking up the stairs of the palace. Seeing nothing around me, my heart is full of joy. He quickened his pace. Then a swooshing sound came from the sky. The elder of the White Jade sect looked up. He saw a flaming meteorite flying towards him at an unbelievable speed. No, no, no. The elder of the White Jade sect opened his eyes. When the meteorite fell, blood splattered everywhere. Seeing this scene, Zhuoxuyuan and the red-robed woman were shocked. Things were not as simple as they thought. At this moment, the woman in red also suggested to the others, "Everyone, why don't we go together?" This way everyone can take care of each other. When the other cultivators heard the woman in red's words, they nodded at each other. They didn't want to be the next them, after the tragedy of the white jade sex elder. Xiao Changtian, who was in the cave, was currently carving a totem. As he fiddled with it, the sound of gravel falling could be heard. Xiao Changtian also found that the entire wall was open like a stone door. Seeing this situation, Xiao Changtian also pulled Jiang Beichen into it. Then, the entire stone room shook as he brought Xiao Changtian up. Chapter 594 Robbery Wunzenvel. Siamacron mi myriad array sky. Ancient tomb. When Xiao Changtian entered the stone room in the cave, Zuoxiu Yuan and the others who were in the ancient tomb also encountered a great crisis. Sect Master Third Elder's arm is broken. An array sect elder was fending off the surrounding demonic beasts, as he slowly said to Zuoxiu Yuan. However, these demon beasts were different from the demon beasts of the demon spirit. These demon beasts were just a skeleton without any flesh. From the looks of it, it seemed to be controlled by some array formation. Zuoxiu Yuan looked at the array sect's third elder, who had lost an arm on the ground, and frowned. Everyone hold on. We'll be able to pass very soon. When they stepped on the stairs, Zuoxiu Yuan and the others were on guard against the sky, afraid that the next meteorite would come. He didn't expect that before he saw the meteorite, countless demon beasts would suddenly appear on the surrounding stairs and attack him. These demon beasts had no intelligence. Clearly, they were methods left behind by the former immortal emperor. The situation on Zuoxiu Yuan's side wasn't good, and the situation on the red-clothed woman and the jade-faced man's side wasn't any better. While Zuoxiu Yuan was resisting the demonic beasts, Xiao Changtian and Jiang Beichen passed through the stone room in the cave. He slowly arrived at a palace. Walking out of the stone room, Xiao Changtian sighed. This immortal cultivator's design was very impressive. It was similar to the elevators he had seen in his previous life. Following that, a magnificent palace of the shrine was reflected in Xiao Changshen's eyes. Looking at the palace in front of him, a few large words floated in the palace. All treasures and spirit skills are free to be taken. Xiao Changtian frowned when he saw the words. Treasures and spirit skills free to take? How could this immortal cultivator be so good? With this thought in mind, Xiao Changtian said to Jiang Beichen, Beichen, go and see if there's anything you like. Hearing Xiao Changshen's words, Jiang Beichen also walked around. He picked up the few cultivation methods and spirit skills on the ground, and shook his head after flipping through them. These things were too different from what his master had given him. Xiao Changtian also picked up a spirit skill called 10,000 Sword Divine Power from the ground. This was written by an immortal cultivator. Would it be friendly to a mortal friend like him? Xiao Changtian held the book in his hand. For some reason he suddenly felt excited. If he could cultivate, he would have the power to protect himself in the cultivation world in the future. Xiao Changtian slowly flipped to the first page of the 10,000 Swords mystical power, and saw a figure wielding a sword. This was a real skill. It was way too much better than the ones the system gave him. At this moment, the system's voice sounded in Xiao Changshen's mind. Please note that the system you are in is a system that does not cultivate. If the host is cultivating, you cannot enter the path of invincibility. Hearing the system's voice, Xiao Changtian couldn't help but curse in his heart. In that case, he could only look at the spirit skill in front of him, and not cultivate it. Xiao Changtian thought that he could cultivate his first spirit skill. System, you win. Xiao Changtian kept the book in his interspatial ring. Just because he couldn't do it now didn't mean he couldn't do it in the future. Xiao Changtian was about to put the book into his interspatial ring. The system's voice slowly sounded in his mind again. Reminder, the level of the spirit skill in your hand is detected to be low. It is not recommended to collect it. Lower level? Xiao Changtian was stunned after hearing the system's words. However, it was better than having no one. Xiao Changtian also wanted to absorb the 10,000 Swords divine power. However, what the system said next made Xiao Changtian despair. With host's aptitude, cultivating that spirit skill will not cause any harm to people. What was that? Won't cause any harm? Xiao Changtian screamed in his heart when he heard the system's voice. This wasn't telling him that his aptitude wasn't good enough, and he couldn't cultivate this spirit skill. If you have nothing to do, you can sell it for a big price. Xiao Changtian consoled himself, and put the infinite sword mystical power into his interspatial ring. On the other hand, Jiang Beichen looked at the books in his hands, and threw them around. Finally, he came to Xiao Changtian and said slowly, "Master, these books are not suitable for me." At this moment, Jiang Beichen voiced his thoughts. These cultivation methods and spirit skills were incomparable to what Xiao Changtian had given them. Hearing Jiang Beichen's words, Xiao Changtian nodded at him. Indeed, with the talent of mortals like us, how could we possibly understand the spirit techniques and divine arts of immortal cultivators? At this moment, Xiao Changtian also patted Jiang Beichen's shoulder. It's okay. There will be better ones in the future. Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Jiang Beichen was delighted. Was his master saying that he wanted to give him a high-grade cultivation technique? Xiao Changtian saw Jiang Beichen's overjoyed look and said to him, "See if there's anything you like. When the time comes, I can give it to the other senior brothers and sisters." Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Jiang Beichen immediately took action. Xiao Changtian looked at the ropes beside him and pulled them. He sighed. This work is too bad. In his hand, Xiao Changtian directly broke the hemp rope into two. Forget it, I'll use my own. Then, Xiao Changtian took out a few ropes from his interspatial ring. He packed up the books, and put them into his interspatial ring. At the same time, Jiang Beichen looked at the iron swords on the ground and said to Xiao Changtian, "Master, should we take these iron swords back?" When Xiao Changtian heard Jiang Beichen's words, he glanced at the ground and shook his head. These iron swords were too rough, and that wouldn't stick. He didn't dare to say anything. After Xiao Changtian finished collecting, he brought Jiang Beichen into the stone room. Because another big word had just come down. Take my spiritual weapon and take my inheritance. When Xiao Changtian saw these words, he quickly pulled Jiang Beichen away. If the owner of this palace found out that two mortals had robbed his palace, would they still have a chance to escape? The moment Xiao Changtian and Jiang Beichen stepped into the stone chamber, Zuoxiu Yuan and the red-clothed woman also came to the front door of the palace. Looking at the door in front of them, Zuoxiu Yuan and the woman in red looked at each other. Then, the woman in red gritted her teeth and pushed the door open. As the woman in red pushed him away, Xiao Changtian and Jiang Beichen also left the palace in their stone chambers. Chapter 595, The End Wenzhenvel. Siamakronem in the ancient tomb of the sky of 10,000 arrays, after Xiao Changtian left with Jiang Beichen, Zuoxiu Yuan and the others also rushed into the palace. Haha, everyone, I'll take your treasures first. Zuoxiu Yuan looked at everyone and let out a hearty laugh. Then with a whoosh he flew inside. At this time, the red-clothed woman and the jade-faced man saw Zuoxiu Yuan's actions. He cursed in his heart. Old fox. As soon as he finished speaking, the two of them walked in. Soon, everyone arrived at the palace. Looking around, Zuoxiu Yuan was also a little dumbfounded. Where are the treasures? Zuoxiu Yuan's voice echoed in the palace as he spoke loudly. The situation inside was somewhat beyond his expectations. According to the news, there should be a sex cultivation technique piled up inside. Why was there not a single cultivation technique? Then he saw a rope on the ground. Immortal confining rope? Seeing the rope, Zuoxiu Yuan also intended to go over and fight for it. However, before he could make a move, a figure appeared in front of him. He slowly put the rope on the ground back into his hand. Jadeface, what are you doing? Are you going to take it all for yourself? At this time, Zuoxiu Yuan also shouted at the jade-faced man. After hearing his words, the jade-faced man threw the rope in his hand to him. She shrugged and said slowly, "If you want it, take it." He threw the immortal trapping rope that had been broken into two halves to Zuoxiu Yuan. Zuoxiu Yuan took it, and saw the broken immortal confining rope. He muttered, "How is that possible? How was this possible? How could the immortal confining rope be broken?" This immortal confining rope was his purpose for coming to the immortal emperor's tomb this time. Moreover, This immortal confining rope was a top-grade immortal artifact. How could it be broken? Originally, he had wanted to add the immortal confining rope into his array formation. In that case, he would have a way to deal with even an imperial immortal. He did not expect that the immortal trapping rope would actually be broken in the end. At this time, Zuoxiu Yuan looked at the immortal confining rope in his hand, clearly unable to accept it. On the other side, the red-robed woman was also checking the palace. No, someone got in first and took all those things. The woman in red said as she pointed at the footprints on the ground. It was obvious that someone had come here before. Zuoxiu Yuan and the jade-faced man looked at each other as they followed the direction of the red-clothed woman's finger. Bastard, who is it that actually came here before us? While speaking, Zuoxiu Yuan also swept his gaze across the crowd. There was only one entrance to the ancient tomb. No matter what, he should be among them. When Zuoxiu Yuan's gaze swept over them, everyone felt a chill run down their spines. Then the palace shook. What happened this time? The jade-faced man was extremely irritable as he spoke loudly. Then, in front of Zuoxiu Yuan and the others, a burst of true essence slowly condensed. Not long after, a figure slowly appeared in midair. It was the owner of this ancient tomb, the nameless immortal emperor. Seeing this phantom, Zuoxiu Yuan's face was also filled with joy. He suddenly understood what had just been a test set by the nameless immortal emperor. Those footprints and traces of cultivation methods and spirit skills being moved were definitely caused by this imperial immortal. And that rope might be an illusion. When the shadow appeared, the red-clothed woman and the jade-faced man also looked at him in surprise. Nameless immortal emperor, they only knew his name and not his appearance. In the air, the mysterious man looked at the people below and said slowly, "The treasure has already been taken away. What are you doing here?" Zuoxiu Yuan and the jade-faced man were also in a commotion when they heard that the treasure had been taken away. "Senior, as far as we know, we are the first batch to arrive here." The jade-faced man took a step forward and slowly said to the phantom. The illusory figure seemed to have been angered by the jade-faced man. He looked at him and waved his illusory sleeve at him. A terrifying blade of light shot towards the jade-faced man. "I don't like people questioning my words." The jade-faced man's expression turned grave when he heard the mysterious man's domineering words. Holding the feather fan in his hand, he also swung a few light blades at the illusory figure. Bang! The blades of light collided with each other, causing a ripple in the air. Then the jade-faced man clutched his chest. He did not expect that after so many years of the immortal emperor's death, his strength was still preserved so well. After exchanging blows with the jade-faced man, the mysterious man had no intention of stopping. "All of you should be executed for disturbing the slumber of the grand instance." As the illusory figure's voice sounded, a huge storm palm slowly appeared in the palace. Zuoxiu Yuan and the woman in red wore solemn expressions when they saw this huge palm. "Let's go." After learning from the former imperial immortals that the treasures inside had been taken away, they no longer had the need to stay here. With a flash of his body, he walked out of the ancient tomb. As they fled, the palm print followed them. Many people from all walks of life had died. Not long after they left the palace, Zuoxiu Yuan and the others felt the entire ancient tomb shake violently. Damn it! After cursing in his heart, Zuoxiu Yuan also increased his speed and flew towards the exit. According to this situation, the entire ancient tomb should be collapsing. The woman in red and the others saw Zuoxiu Yuan's figure flying outside. He also shouted at the cultivators behind him, "Let's go." This trip to the ancient tomb could be said to be extremely terrible for them. Not only did he not get any benefits, he ended up in trouble instead. When such a huge change happened in the ancient tomb, Lin Chongfeng, who was in the residence, naturally would not have missed it. Looking at the scene of the ancient tomb collapsing, Lin Chongfeng also looked at a room in the residence. Xiao Changtian and the others had not returned yet. After pondering for a while, Lin Chongfeng also packed up and walked towards the ancient tomb. He was still a little interested in what happened in the ancient tomb. After Xiao Changtian and the others left the palace, they also came to the stone room. Not long after entering the cave, Xiao Changtian felt the entire cave tremble, as if it was about to collapse. Needless to say, it was definitely the work of that group of immortal cultivators. With this thought in mind, Xiao Changtian also brought Jiang Beichen outside. If the cultivators who lived here returned, and found that their immortal's cave had been destroyed, they would be able to escape. She and Jiang Beichen were here. If he vented his anger on her, didn't he die unjustly? Chapter 596. Still the same words, you can't go to that ancient tomb Wunzenvel. Xiaomicron outside the ancient tomb in the sky of 10,000 formations Zhuoxiu Yuan, the red-clothed woman, and the jade-faced man landed outside the ancient tomb. Looking at the ancient tomb that had collapsed behind him, Zhuoxiu Yuan slowly exhaled. Fortunately, they left in time. Otherwise, they might have been buried with the ancient tomb. At this moment, the woman in red also cupped her fists at the others. Everyone, today's matter ends here. Our purple pill sect won't accompany you any longer. As soon as he finished speaking, he ignored the jade-faced man and Zhuoxiu Yuan and brought the purple pill sect's elder to run outside. Are you willing to go back like this, Miss Red? At this time, Zhuoxiu Yuan's voice slowly fell into the mouth of the woman in red. Hearing Zhuoxiu Yuan's words, the red-clothed woman also clenched her silver teeth. Could it be that sect leader Zhua has a better idea? Although they knew that the treasures in the ancient tomb had been taken away by them, they had no clues at all. Zhuoxiu Yuan smiled at them when he heard the woman in red. I naturally have a way to find that person, but that person can find the treasure before us. His strength is definitely extraordinary. Why don't we kill him together, and then divide the treasures? At this time, Zhuoxiu Yuan slowly said to the jade-faced man and the red-clothed woman. The red-clothed woman and the jade-faced man looked at each other when they heard Zhuoxiu Yuan's words. All right, as long as you have any news, let us know. Well, rest here. They wouldn't send people to follow Zhuoxiu Yuan and cause trouble just based on Zhuoxiu Yuan's one-sided words. After all, the scene in front of the stone door had not been long. Zhuoxiu Yuan also understood what they meant and didn't say anything. With a flash, he also flew into the distance. Found you. Zhuoxiu Yuan was flying in the air when he saw the figure of an old man below. He smiled and flew down. In the forest, Lin Changfeng slowly walked towards the ancient tomb. Then, the fallen leaves in front of him fluttered, and a figure flew down from the sky. Sect leader Zhua? Lin Changfeng said to Zhuoxiu Yuan as he saw him fall from the sky. Lin Changfeng, long time no see. Zhuoxiu Yuan smiled and replied when he saw Lin Changfeng. Sect Master Zhua, is the expedition to the tomb over? Lin Changfeng looked at Zhuoxiu Yuan, who was covered in dust and had some blood on one of his arms. She also slowly said to him, the trip to the ancient tomb is over, but look at me. What do you think happened? I won't hide it from you. All the treasures in the ancient tomb have been looted. We even got into trouble. I didn't understand why you didn't join the ancient tomb trip. Tell me, do you know something? Zhuoxiu Yuan stared at Lin Changfeng, and the true essence in his body kept surging. He looked like he was ready to attack at any time. Lin Changfeng's sudden improvement in array formation skills, and the fact that he didn't want to go to this tomb that had infinite attraction. This made Zhuoxiu Yuan suspicious. Lin Changfeng was also shocked when he heard Zhuoxiu Yuan's words. Hearing Zhuoxiu Yuan's words, he also understood why Xiao Changtian didn't let him go to the ancient tomb. Presumably, Senior had already predicted the situation inside the ancient tomb. If he went, it would be a waste. Thinking of this, Lin Changfeng felt grateful towards Xiao Changtian. Not only did it give him an opportunity, but it also allowed him to take fewer detours. As he thought this in his heart, Lin Changfeng also slowly said to Zhuoxiu Yuan, you don't have to doubt me. With my strength, if I enter the ancient tomb, would you not notice? As for the reason why I'm not going, it's not convenient for me to disclose it. Zhuoxiu Yuan smiled at Lin Changfeng when he heard his words. So, you know something? Your array has improved so quickly. Who knows what kind of opportunities you have recently? We'll only know if we try. As he said this, Zhuoxiu Yuan also surged his true essence, and a large array was formed under Lin Changfeng's feet. Lin Changfeng felt a large array suddenly rise under his feet, and his eyes were fixed on it. With a stomp of his feet, his figure flew up into the sky. The true chi on his fingertips surged, and then attacked the array formation below. Bang! As the core of the formation was hit, the array that Zuoshu Yuan created also let out a buzzing sound. Then it exploded below. After obtaining the complete understanding of array formations, Lin Changfeng's understanding of array formations was much higher than before. You can leave. I don't want to fight with you. Lin Changfeng slowly landed on the ground as he spoke to Zuoshu Yuan. When Zuoshu Yuan saw that Lin Changfeng had improved so much, he became even more suspicious of Lin Changfeng. He took out a signal flare and fired it into the sky. The signal flare exploded in midair, and Lin Changfeng felt two auras rushing towards him. After a while, the red-clothed woman and the jade-faced man appeared beside Zuoshu Yuan. Lin Changfeng looked at the two people who suddenly appeared and narrowed his eyes. It seemed that he had been careless. This Zuoshu Yuan had come prepared. After seeing the woman in red and the jade-faced man, Zuoshu Yuan slowly said to them, "You too, I think it was him who took the treasures in the ancient tomb." Hearing Zuoshu Yuan's words, the red-clothed woman and the jade-faced man also looked at Lin Changfeng. The true essence in everyone's bodies flowed continuously. He could make a move at any time. At this moment, a clear voice sounded in everyone's ears. "Old man, why are you here?" Hearing this voice, everyone looked in the direction of the forest. They saw Xiao Changtian and Jiang Beichen slowly walking towards them. Seeing Xiao Changtian, Lin Changfeng was stunned. Senior was indeed a god. He must have known that he was in trouble here. He had specially come to help him. Seeing Xiao Changtian beside him, Lin Changfeng also gave him a fist salute. "Senior." Hearing Lin Changfeng call him senior, Xiao Changtian scratched his head. Then, he slowly said to Lin Changfeng, "Old man, what are you doing here?" Lin Changfeng told Xiao Changtian the truth. This old man also wants to investigate this immortal emperor's tomb. As he spoke, Lin Changfeng lowered his head in embarrassment. After all, Xiao Changtian had told him not to go to the immortal emperor tomb. Xiao Changtian sighed after hearing Lin Changfeng's words. The old men in the cultivation world were all people with dreams. Everyone wanted to cultivate to become an immortal. However, it would be great if it was really that easy. As he thought about this, Xiao Changtian said to him, "I'll say it again. You can't go to that ancient tomb." Chapter 597. It shouldn't be difficult to trap a mortal like Svenvel. Siamacron him _110,000 array sky. In the forest, Xiao Changshan's words echoed in everyone's ears. Following that, everyone's eyes focused on Xiao Changtian. Lin Changfeng smiled awkwardly. Senior is right. Zuoshu Yuan and the others did not obtain anything after entering. Why would he take the risk? Seeing Lin Changfeng's smiling face, Xiao Changtian continued, "You really can't go to this ancient tomb now. By the time you arrive, all the treasures will have been taken away." Xiao Changtian felt that the old man had not given up, so he continued to persuade him. After such a long time, those opportunities must have been snatched away by those immortal cultivators. What did this old man have to do with it? He might enter that ancient tomb and be hit by some mechanism inside. Wouldn't he die without knowing why? When Xiao Changtian mentioned that the treasures in the ancient tomb had been taken away, Zuoshu Yuan, the red-clothed woman, and the jade-faced man also looked at each other. His gaze swept across Xiao Changtian. Judging from his aura, Xiao Changtian was just a mortal. However, how many people were there in Wanjin heaven who could be called seniors by Lin Changfeng? It might be an old monster who had cultivated for many years. In a situation where there was no enmity between them, who would be willing to offend an old monster? After hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Lin Changfeng sighed in his heart. As expected of a senior, he knew everything that happened in the ancient tomb. At this moment, Xiao Changtian also thought of something. "Old man, let's go back first. If those Xiaxianists came back and found out that the cave had been destroyed, they would definitely fight. What were these mortals doing here if not waiting for death?" Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Lin Changfeng followed him and left. Zuoshu Yuan and the others watched Xiao Changtian and Lin Changfeng leave, their eyes flickering. As for Xiao Changtian, who had suddenly appeared as an X-factor. They did not know how strong he was. Lin Changfeng was already very strong. If they attacked together, they probably wouldn't be able to gain anything. At this moment, the red-robed woman saw Xiao Changtian and Lin Changfeng, who had walked a distance away. "Look, what's that?" The woman in red pointed at the bamboo basket on Xiao Changshan's back. Some of the books were thick, and the red-robed woman was able to see them clearly with her divine power. Wasn't this the cultivation method and spirit skill recorded in the ancient tomb? Zuoxiu Yuan and the jade-faced man also realized something when they heard the red-clothed woman's words. The few of them no longer hesitated. Zuoxiu Yuan's Zhen Yuan surged out, forming a huge formation with him as the center. It quickly spread toward Xiao Changtian and Lin Changfeng. "You stole my opportunity, and you still want to run?" The jade-faced man looked at Xiao Changtian and Lin Changfeng, who were faintly discernible in front of him, and his body floated in the air. He waved the feather fan in his hand in their direction. Immediately, poisonous thorns flew out from the feather fan, attacking Xiao Changtian. The woman in red was naturally unwilling to fall behind. Her hands also made a series of changing gestures, and a huge flame appeared beside her. Whoosh! The flame left a huge trail behind it as it flew towards Xiao Changtian. At this moment, Lin Changfeng, who was beside Xiao Changtian, also said slowly to him, "Senior, what should we do?" Zuoxiu Yuan and the others suddenly launched an attack on them. If he was alone, he would not be able to block them. Hearing Lin Changfeng's words, Xiao Changtian frowned. Could it be that this old man still wanted to go to the ancient tomb of that immortal cultivator? With this thought in mind, Xiao Changtian said to him unhappily, "Of course we're going back. Don't worry about anything else, let us go." This old man, I was trying to persuade him out of goodwill. Why did he take things so hard? Lin Changfeng heard the displeasure in Xiao Changshan's words and smiled at him. "Senior, you're right. I also know some small array formations. Perhaps I can." Lin Changfeng stopped halfway. Why was he so stupid? Senior told him not to care. He definitely wanted to settle it himself. Why was his mouth so lacking? Xiao Changtian heard what Lin Changfeng said and stopped walking. He said to him, "What did you just say? You know formations?" Lin Changfeng was stunned when he saw Xiao Changtian suddenly stop and ask. Then, he slowly nodded to Xiao Changtian. "I only know a little. It's not worth mentioning." Then Lin Changfeng felt that the spirit skill was getting closer and closer, and he was very nervous. Why didn't this senior do anything? Xiao Changshan's voice was heard as he thought about this. "Old man, hurry up and show me one." Lin Changfeng understood what Xiao Changtian meant. "Senior, you want me to block the attacks from behind first, right?" That was right. Senior had given him such a profound array formation, so how could he not repay him? With that thought in mind, Lin Changfeng was just about to make a move when Jiang Beichen's voice reached his ears. "Do whatever master tells you to do. Don't worry about anything else." Jiang Beichen's voice rang in Lin Changfeng's ears. Then, Lin Changfeng saw Jiang Beichen throw a leaf behind him. The leaf floated in the air, bringing with it an unmatched sword qi. Then, whether it was Zuoxiu Yuan's array, the red-clothed woman's flames, or the jade-faced man's poisonous thorns, the two of them were all killed. They were all annihilated by the sword qi before they could pass through his position. After the collision, the leaf showed no signs of dissipating. It directly tore through the sky and hit Zuoxiu Yuan, the jade-faced man, and the red-clothed woman. After Zuoxiu Yuan and the others fell to the ground, they never got up again. Lin Changfeng gulped when he saw the scene behind him. This senior's disciple was already so strong. At this moment, Xiao Chang's voice slowly entered his ears. "Old man, will it take a long time to cast this formation?" After hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Lin Changfeng also said to Xiao Changtian slowly, "Senior, it will be done soon." Xiao Changtian waved his hand at Lin Changfeng. "How about this? Use a formation on me, and see if you can control me." Seeing that Lin Changfeng had been preparing for so long, but did not make any moves, he was shocked. Xiao Changtian also wanted to give him some advice. After all, this old man only knew a little, so he shouldn't make things too difficult for him. It shouldn't be difficult to trap a mortal like him. Chapter 598. Old man, you have to practice your arrays and vel. Siomicron M formation 10,000 array. In the forest, Lin Changfeng's mouth twitched when he heard Xiao Changshan's words. Senior, are you serious? Trapping you is making things difficult for me. Seeing Lin Changfeng's troubled face, Xiao Changtian slowly said to him. What's wrong, old man? Is there a problem? Could it be that you can't trap me? Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Lin Changfeng could only nod his head in embarrassment. Senior, I can still try to trap the others. But what am I supposed to do if I trap you? Xiao Changtian got Lin Changfeng's confirmation and complained. Old man, you have to practice your formation well. This old man couldn't even trap himself. He wondered if this array formation could be considered rudimentary. More importantly, he did not know if the system would acknowledge the array set up by this old man. While he was thinking about this, he also said slowly in his mind, System, can this old man be considered qualified to set up the sect protection array? Ding dong. As long as it's a formation master, there won't be a problem. Hearing the system's ambiguous answer, Xiao Changtian was a little confused. Did the system mean yes or no? Forget it. Let's see what kind of array this old man knows first. Xiao Changtian thought so and said to Lin Changfeng slowly, Old man, just set up the formation that you are most proficient in. Lin Changfeng nodded at Xiao Changtian. Then he made a series of hand gestures, and a huge formation was formed under his feet. Senior, what do you think of the heaven and earth array formation? Once this array formation is activated, no one can approach me within a few miles. Unlike Zhuo Lian's killing formation, Lin Changfeng's main cultivation was the path of defense. Therefore, he also displayed his proudest work. At this moment, Xiao Changtian had also appeared beside Lin Changfeng. She patted his shoulder and said slowly, Old man, I don't feel anything. Xiao Changtian looked around him. What was this old man talking about? It sounded awesome, but why didn't anything change around him? Could it be that he was a mortal and could not see the array? But that was not right. He did not feel affected at all. Xiao Changtian remembered that those Xiaxianists had fought with earth-shaking powers. Was this old man bragging to him just now? As he thought about this, Xiao Changtian also looked at Lin Changfeng suspiciously. Lin Changfeng smiled embarrassedly at Xiao Changtian. I really have no choice. Senior, you don't feel anything. It's because you directly broke the array. How can you blame me for that? Alright, blame me for being too weak. Lin Changfeng looked at Xiao Changtian in front of him. After Xiao Changtian paced back and forth in front of Lin Changfeng, he slowly said to him, Old man, are you willing to go to the 100,000 mountains with me and help me build a sect-protecting formation? He did not see any array masters here. It was not easy to meet an old man, so it was better to pull him back and give it a try. Perhaps the system would pass. Lin Changfeng was overjoyed when he heard Xiao Changtian's words. Was this senior inviting him to join them? Lin Changfeng nodded to Xiao Changtian. Senior, no problem. Can follow Xiao Changtian's side. Then he can get the opportunity is also a lot of. Perhaps he would have more confidence in going to Treasure Pill Heaven in the future. Seeing the old man agree, Xiao Changtian continued. Let's talk about the salary first. Food and accommodation are included, okay? Lin Changfeng was stunned when he heard Xiao Changshan's words. Senior, I don't want anything. I just want to stay by your side. It was already a great opportunity for him to be able to cultivate by Senior's side. How could he dare to ask for a salary? He didn't want anything. Xiao Changtian frowned when he heard the old man. Looking at the old man's appearance, he was also a little naive. He was already so old, yet he still did not want anything. How was he going to retire in the future? As he thought about this, Xiao Changtian said to him, How about this? After I finish it, they'll give you a painting or something. Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Lin Changfeng was about to refuse, but when he saw Xiao Changshan's expression, he said to him, No problem, I'll listen to Senior. Alright, tidy up the courtyard. We'll set off immediately. Xiao Changtian said to Lin Changfeng slowly. There were so many cultivators here fighting for his opportunities, so it was better for him to leave as soon as possible. Lin Changfeng nodded at Xiao Changtian. Then she followed him out of the forest. After Xiao Changtian brought Lin Changfeng and the others out of the forest. Zuoxiu Yuan, who had fallen to the ground, also slowly stood up. Looking at the direction where Xiao Changtian had left, Zuoxiu Yuan's eyes were also gloomy. He covered his chest with his hand. There was an obvious wound there. It was obvious that Jiang Beichen had just stayed behind. Then, he took out a jade bottle from his interspatial ring. He took out a pill and put it into his mouth. Lin Changfeng, just you wait. Then, Zuoxiu Yuan's figure also flew into the distance. The direction they were flying towards was treasure pill heaven. When Zuoxiu Yuan left, the red-clothed woman on the ground coughed a few times. She slowly stood up from the ground and walked to the side of the jade-faced man. After searching his body for a while, he also took away the treasures on his body. Finally, a flame rose from his hand and slowly landed on the jade-faced man. The jade-faced man's body turned into ashes. Grandpa, the mission you gave me is really difficult. Just a moment ago, she felt the arrival of the Grim Reaper. After doing all this, the woman in red took out a jade pendant. After slowly crushing it, a huge wormhole slowly appeared. The red-robed woman also stepped in without any hesitation. On the other side, Xiao Changtian and Lin Changfeng slowly appeared in the divine world. It's just ahead. Xiao Changtian saw the old man beside him looking around in surprise, and said slowly to him. Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Lin Changfeng smiled at him. He really didn't expect Xiao Changtian to live in such a god realm with thin spiritual energy. Was this a big shot? Lin Changfeng suddenly felt that Xiao Changtian was not only unreachable, but also unfathomable. Perhaps, Senior's strength had already reached the level of returning to the original. Chapter 599:1 Didn't expect. There's always a mountain higher, Wenzhenvel. Siamacronim Divine Realm. 100,000 mountains under Xiao Changshan's lead. Lin Changfeng quickly crossed the mountains of the 100,000 mountains. Lin Changfeng looked at the lake. At this moment, the black water dragon was slowly swimming on the surface of the lake. Lin Changfeng was shocked when he saw the black water dragon. Was this a celestial king demonic beast? Xiao Changtian saw Lin Changfeng stop and smiled at him. Don't be afraid. That little black just entered the sect not long ago. Lin Changfeng nodded at Xiao Changtian. For immortal kings, which sect wouldn't treat them as old ancestors? He had only just entered the sect when he came to Senior. It seemed that his previous prediction of Senior was still too low to let an immortal king-level demon beast guard the door. Senior was probably a legendary creation immortal, or even a higher-level cultivator, right? With reverence, Lin Changfeng and Xiao Changtian stepped on Blackie's body and slowly came to the island. At this moment, the Great Sun Immortal and the others also saw Xiao Changtian, who had returned. Senior, you're back. As soon as Xiao Changtian stepped onto the island, everyone greeted him. Xiao Changtian also responded to them one by one when he saw them. Then, he introduced Lin Changfeng. Old man, this is the Great Sun Immortal. That is the Red Cloud Divine King who wants to cultivate immortality. And that, Xiao Changtian was also worried that this old man would not be used to living here. So he introduced the Great Sun Immortal and the others to him one by one. After hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Lin Changfeng smiled at the Grand Sun Immortal and the others. So the people around Senior were so terrifying. These people didn't have any aura leaking out, but the things they were holding and wearing. No matter how he looked at it, it was even more awesome than a high-grade immortal artifact. The rake, hoe, and brick in his hand were probably at the level of a top-grade immortal weapon. After greeting the Grand Sun Immortal and the others, Lin Changfeng realized what kind of place he had come to. Indeed, birds of a feather flocked together. Big shots were surrounded by big shots. Then Xiao Changtian introduced them. This old man is an array master. He'll have to trouble everyone to take care of him when he constructs the sect protection array for our sect. Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Lin Changfeng also cupped his fists at the Great Sun Immortal and the others. He'll have to trouble everyone to take care of me in the future. When Taoist Big Sun and the others heard Lin Changfeng's words, they also waved at him. No problem. Since we're here, we're all family now. If there's anything, look for me. Since he was the array master that Senior found, He might be Senior's favorite person in the future. It was never wrong to build a good relationship with this old man. Look at that chef from before. Isn't he being used by the Senior to make 3 meals a day now? After introducing Lin Changfeng to the grandson immortal, Xiao Changtian stretched himself. Then he saw Hellfire waving at him. Hellfire, there's a newcomer on this island. You should give him a good welcome tonight. The Hellfire nodded at Xiao Changtian. No problem, Senior. Hellfire? Lin Changfeng suddenly felt that the name Hellfire sounded familiar. This name, where did he hear it from? Then, Lin Changfeng saw Xiao Changtian take out a green bull from his interspatial ring. Was this a half-step immortal emperor demonic beast? Could it be that person from Green Bull Mountain? Lin Changfeng gasped when he saw Xiao Changtian take out the green ox. Some time ago, he had heard the news of a human robbing everything in Green Bull Mountain. At that time, he was still suspecting who was capable of destroying the territory of a half-step immortal emperor. If it was a Senior, then it was indeed reasonable. Let's eat beef hot pot tonight. Xiao Changtian handed the blue sky to the Hellfire and said slowly. When the Hellfire heard Xiao Changshan's words, it was also excited. As for hot pot, it was a skill that he had just learned recently. Coupled with the blue sky as an ingredient, the Hellfire was extremely happy. After Lin Changfeng saw the Hellfire clearly, he remembered. Wasn't this the same person from the Sacred Spirit Heaven? Seeing Xiao Changtian hand over the blue sky to the Hellfire, Lin Changfeng said to Xiao Changtian slowly, Senior, are you going to slaughter this green ox and eat it? Even though he already had the answer in his heart, he still couldn't resist the temptation of a half-step immortal emperor demonic beast. Lin Changfeng could not help but ask. Xiao Changtian heard Lin Changfeng's words and said, What else? It's just a cow. If you don't have it, just go and fight. According to Xiao Changshan's experience, those old men, who were in their middle school, were relatively poor. He must have felt that it was a waste to kill such a big cow to entertain him. At this moment, Lin Changfeng said to Xiao Changtian gratefully, Thank you, Senior. Seeing Lin Changfeng's grateful expression, Xiao Changtian waved his hand at him. Sure enough, just as he had imagined, a cow could move an old man to this extent. Then Xiao Changtian slowly said to Lin Changfeng, You just arrived. Why don't you familiarize yourself with the surroundings first? Lin Changfeng nodded at Xiao Changtian. At this moment, the great Sun Immortal also said to Lin Changfeng, Why don't I take this fellow Taoist to take a look? Xiao Changtian nodded at him. After hearing the words of the great Sun Immortal, he felt at ease when Taoist Big Sun brought this old man. After being busy for so long, he should go and rest. After she woke up, she would have a hot pot. Life was so delicate. After Xiao Changtian left, the great Sun Immortal also brought Lin Changfeng to familiarize himself with the environment on the island. When he saw the black tortoise, phoenix, and other divine beasts on the island, Lin Changfeng was a little stunned. On this island, he had thought that Taoist Big Sun and the others were the strongest assistants of Senior. He did not expect that there would be a mountain higher than the other. This island was really full of hidden dragons and tigers. This was a divine beast that was usually not seen. However, they could be seen everywhere here. Also, when Senior's disciples saw Yi Fan, the axe he used to chop firewood seemed to be able to split his soul into two. No, he had to work hard in the future and become a follower behind Senior. If it really didn't work, he could also be a gatekeeper on the island. After all, on the island, his strength was probably only comparable to that demonic beast. After wandering around the island for a while, Lin Changfeng immediately made up his mind. Also, he had to do a good job with this sect-protecting array. Chapter 600, 9 Heavens God-Sealing Array, 1 Znvel. Siamacronem Divine Realm. 100,000 mountains on a long wooden table on the island. The soup base of the hot pot kept boiling under the burning flames, and waves of fragrance floated out from it. As the fragrance entered their noses, everyone present felt that the flow of true essence in their bodies had become much smoother. Just the smell alone could cause such an effect. At this moment, everyone was staring at the hot pot on the table. Everyone, don't be anxious. Xiao Changtian was sitting in the middle of the crowd, holding a spoon in his hand, as he helped everyone scoop the soup and put the meat in. Lin Chongfeng saw Xiao Changshan's expression and understood why he was so respected by everyone. Senior's state of mind was not something he could compare to. He was strong, but he did not put on airs. He was gentle to others, and even did these things himself. If he had such a state of mind when he was young, his current achievements would probably be far more than this. Lin Chongfeng sighed in his heart. When he saw Xiao Changtian helping him with the soup, he smiled and said, "Senior, how can I trouble you? I'll do it myself." Xiao Changtian nodded after hearing Lin Changfeng's words. "Okay, I'll put the spoon here. You can help yourself." Xiao Changtian sighed. This newcomer was really good. He was nothing like the others. He was so lazy that every time he scooped rice and soup, he couldn't pick up the spoon or the chopsticks. All kinds of excuses made him have no choice but to do it himself. He had no choice. After all, he had promised to provide food and accommodation. After Xiao Changtian put down the spoon, Lin Chongfeng was about to scoop the soup himself. He saw that everyone present was looking at him in shock. Di Wuzheng secretly gave him a thumbs up. What had he done? Lin Chongfeng could not react when he felt everyone's gaze. Then, he immediately understood as soon as he held the spoon. I was too careless, too careless. He had actually forgotten that the spoons and utensils used by Senior were at least top-grade immortal artifacts. With the strength of the others, there was no way they could take them down. How could he do it with his little strength? Lin Chongfeng held the spoon in his hand and used all the true essence in his body. But he only made the spoon move slightly. As Lin Changfeng's face turned red, the situation became very awkward. At this moment, Xiao Changtian also noticed that Lin Chongfeng had not filled his bowl for a long time. "Old man, don't be so reserved. It's fine to serve a little more." This old man must be here for the first time. He was a little shy. From his face, it was obvious that he was red. He was afraid that if he filled too much, it would give others a bad impression. If he filled too little, he would not be full. "All right, Senior." Lin Chongfeng nodded at Xiao Changtian. Now it was not a matter of whether he had more or less spoons. It was a matter of whether he could lift the spoon. With the spoon in his hand, Lin Chongfeng felt like he was carrying a few mountains. Finally, after much effort, Lin Chongfeng put some beef soup into his bowl. Then he sat down on the chair, panting heavily. Lin Chongfeng felt that scooping soup for himself was more tiring than fighting hundreds of rounds with others. Seeing that Lin Chongfeng had been flourishing for so long, Xiao Changtian said slowly, "Old man, is this enough to fill your stomach? You should eat more." The little bit of meat that this old man had was probably only enough to fill the gaps between his teeth. While speaking, Xiao Changtian also helped to scoop some from the pot. "Thank you, Senior." At this moment, Lin Chongfeng also thanked Xiao Changtian. Soon, everyone began to enjoy the meat of the Qingtian demonic beasts, especially the Hellfire, who felt great eating the food he made. After dinner, Lin Chongfeng said to Xiao Changtian, "Senior, I already have an idea for this lake protection sect's grand array." At this moment, Lin Chongfeng took out a blueprint from his pocket and handed it to Xiao Changtian. This diagram was the Nine Heavens God Sealing formation that he had designed. It was made from the essence of his life. He had also fused the methods within and reached a new level. Lin Chongfeng believed that as long as this array was set up, even a creation immortal could attack the island. It was not a simple matter, and there was even the danger of being killed. After all, the 9 formation cores on the array complemented each other and were ever-changing. They were both offensive and defensive. Xiao Changtian looked at the blueprints Lin Chongfeng gave him. After a casual glance, he nodded at him. "No problem, well, do as you want." Xiao Changtian also knew that this old man only knew a little. He couldn't expect too much from them. There wouldn't be any powerful cultivators coming to this place. If it came, no matter how strong this array formation was, it would not be able to stop it. Lin Chongfeng got Xiao Changshan's approval and said to him slowly, "Senior, what do you think about using these for the formation cores?" Lin Chongfeng took a step to the side as he spoke. The huge flags that were flying behind him were revealed. However, The 9 flying flags that he had collected in the 10,000 array sky over the years were all high-grade immortal artifacts. If combined, it could even be comparable to a supreme-grade immortal artifact. Lin Changfeng was very confident in his own flying flag, but after seeing the equipment used by Xiao Changtian, he was shocked. Lin Changfeng felt that his 9 flying flags might not be able to catch Xiao Changshen's eye. However, the 9 Heavens God Sealing Formation had a very high requirement for immortal artifacts. These 9 immortal artifacts had to be connected to each other. He was able to find these 9 flying flags that were connected to each other partly because he was lucky. Xiao Changtian looked at the flying flag in front of him and placed his hand under his chin. "Old man, what do you think of these 9? As he spoke, Xiao Changtian took out the 9 flags that the system had given him. It wasn't that the old man's 9 flags weren't good, but Xiao Changtian felt that the flags given by the system were useless. However, if he looked a little more awe-inspiring, it might have some deterrent effect. When Lin Changfeng saw the 9 flags, he was excited. "Senior, of course. With these 9 flags, I can guarantee that no one will be able to attack the island." The strength of the 9 Heavens God Sealing Array also depended on the strength of the array immortal artifact. Lin Changfeng couldn't see through the 9 flags Xiao Changtian had taken out. However, he was sure that it was definitely above the supreme grade immortal artifact, and they were even related. Once the 9 Heavens God Sealing Array was set up, let alone the experts he knew, it was impossible for him to do so. Even the legendary power of the heavenly Tao might not be able to break him. Chapter 601:1 was played Wunzenvel. Siamakronim Treasure Pill Heaven, on a quiet mountain peak. In the air, a stream of light slowly swept past, and then a figure slowly landed on the mountain peak. It was Zuo Yuan, who had escaped from Wanjintian. After arriving at Treasure Pill Heaven, Zuo Yuan also heaved a sigh of relief. After all, Jiang Beichen's attack had left a deep impression on him. Not only did a leaf block their attack, but it also caused damage to them. Of course, the scarier one was the young man beside Lin Changfeng. He directly plundered everything in the immortal emperor's ancient tomb, and from the beginning to the end, he did it as if it was light. He didn't even make a move. This trip to the ancient tomb was simply a loss for him. Not only did they not get anything, but their array sect also lost a lot of people. After this trip to the ancient tomb, the array sect could be said to have suffered a great loss. Zuo Yuan covered his chest with his hand, and could see a long scar on his chest. He thought that he would be able to recover quickly with his own strength. He did not expect the sword qi to be so terrifying. Not only was it constantly eroding his wounds, but it was also constantly eroding his wounds. Moreover, there was a tendency for it to erode other places. He condensed his true essence in his palm, and slowly stabilized the wound. Zuo Yuan also slowly walked forward. Arriving in front of a small pavilion, Zuo Yuan also saw Dan Hun Tian sitting there quietly. The moment Zuo Yuan arrived, the Pill Soul Sky seemed to have sensed something. He opened his eyes and stood up from his seat. He walked in front of Zuo Yuan, and saw the injuries on his body. He then slowly said to him, "Brother Zuo, what did you encounter? How did it end up like this?" Zuo Yuan looked at the Pill Soul Sky in front of him, and said angrily, "Don't mention it. Brother Dan, it'll have to trouble you to take a look at my injuries." At this time, Zuo Yuan also showed his wound to the Pill Soul Sky to check. The Pill Soul Heaven was also shocked when he saw the injury on Zuo Yuan's chest. Could it be that some peerless swordsman had appeared in the human realm upon heavens? "Brother Zuo, who did this sword qi on your body?" Zuo Yuan also shook his head at him when he heard Pill Soul Heaven's words. "An unknown man. I don't know much about him. Brother Dan, is there any way to cure it?" As an alchemist, the Sky of Pill Soul was definitely an expert in this field. If he couldn't do anything, Zuo Yuan would probably curse. When the Pill Soul Sky heard Zuo Yuan's words, he pondered for a moment and slowly said to him, "Brother Zuo, there is only one way now, and that is to force the sword qi to your left hand, and then..." At this point, Dan Hun Tian also pointed his right hand down, making a cutting gesture. Hearing the words of the Pill Soul Sky, Zhuoxiu Yuan also struggled. Since the Pill Soul Heaven said so, it seemed that his injuries were also very serious. If he cut off his left hand, he could find some natural treasures to recover. If this sword qi kept winding around his body, he would probably not have a good time in the future. After weighing the pros and cons in his heart, Zui Yuan gritted his teeth and gathered the sword aura in his body to his left hand, according to the instructions of the Pill Soul Sky. Brother Dan, sorry to trouble you. At this time, Zhuoxiu Yuan also said to the Pill Soul Sky. Zhuoxiu Yuan's voice fell. Dan Huntian also did not have any hesitation. The true essence in his hand gathered into his palm and slashed across Zhuoxiu Yuan's left shoulder like a sharp blade. Whoosh! Zhuoxiu Yuan's left arm was directly cut off by the Pill Soul Sky. After doing all this, Dan Huntian also brought Zhuoxiu Yuan to the chair in the pavilion. After pouring a cup of tea for Zhuoxiu Yuan, Dan Huntian also slowly said to him, Brother Zhua, do you have any plans for revenge? Zhuoxiu Yuan took the tea from the Pill Soul Sky. After taking a sip, he clenched his fists. If I don't take revenge, how can I, Zhuoxiu Yuan, establish myself in the human realm upon heavens in the future? Brother Dan, please help me. After hearing Zhuoxiu Yuan's words, the Pill Soul Heaven also smiled. At this moment, an alchemy pavilion disciple slowly walked in from outside. After saying a few words in Dan Huntian's ear, Dan Huntian slowly said to Zhuoxiu Yuan, Brother Zhua, I will definitely help you with this. However, how about we be friends first? Zhuoxiu Yuan did not say anything when he heard what the Pill Soul Sky said. Then, a figure in red slowly appeared in his eyes. Hong Yi. Seeing this figure, Zhuoxiu Yuan also stood up from his seat and said slowly, Wasn't the person standing in front of him the red-robed woman who had entered the ancient tomb with him? At this moment, Dan Huntian also smiled at him and said, Brother Zhua, let me introduce you. This is my granddaughter Hong Yi. Why? Have you met? The red-robed woman slowly walked up to him, as soon as he finished speaking. Grandpa. Zhuoxiu Yuan looked at the woman in red and the sky of Pill Soul with a slightly stunned expression. In his memory, the woman in red should have died under Jiang Beichen's sword aura. Also, this Pill Soul Heaven actually raised his granddaughter in the Purple Pill sect. This was still somewhat beyond his expectations. The lady in red didn't die under the sword qi. It's really worth celebrating. At this time, Zhuoxiu Yuan also slowly said to the woman in red. He could also feel that the red-dressed woman had the same sword qi as him. Take it and eat it. At this moment, the Pill Soul Heaven also gave the red-robed woman a pill. The wounds on his body were also slowly dissipating. Brother Dan, what do you mean? Zhuoxiu Yuan was a little confused now and felt that something was wrong. Didn't this Pill Soul Heaven just tell him that he wanted to cut off his arm? Why was it solved by a pill from his granddaughter now? Zhuoxiu Yuan could smell a storm brewing. He seemed to have been played. At this time, Dan Huntian also slowly said to Zhuoxiu Yuan, Brother Zhua, actually, when Zhuoluyan died, I had asked Hong Yi to monitor you. It just so happened that we encountered the immortal emperor's tomb, so we let her explore it. And the young man you met has been against me for some time. In that case, we have a common enemy. Zhuoxiu Yuan's eyes narrowed slightly when he heard the words of the Pill Soul Heaven, as he slowly said to him, That's right. Don't worry, after you die, I will avenge you. Dan Huntian also nodded at this time, and then came to Zhuoxiu Yuan. Even though Zhuoxiu Yuan was already prepared, he was still pierced through the abdomen by Pill Soul Heaven's palm. Brother Dan, do you think an armless array master is still an array master? Chapter 602. You want to become his woman, 1 Zenvel. Siamacronim bowed in heaven. Next to the small pavilion, Dan Huntian's palm slowly took out from Zhuoxiu Yuan's abdomen. Zhuoxiu Yuan, who was in front of him, also fell heavily to the ground. He opened his eyes, looking like he had died with grievances. At this moment, the woman in red slowly walked to the side of the sky of Pill Soul. Looking at the dead Zhuoxiu Yuan on the ground, he slowly said to the sky of Pill Soul, Grandpa, what should we do next? No matter what, the grudge between us and that young man is getting bigger and bigger. Hearing the woman in red's words, the sky of Pill Soul's face darkened as well. He looked up in the direction of the Saint Spirit sky. Next, grandfather will use the body of the left Shuyuan to break through. During this period of time, I cannot be disturbed by anyone. So I'll have to rely on you for this period of time. Relying on me? When the red-clothed woman heard the words of the Pill Soul Heaven, she was also somewhat stunned. That's right. With Grandpa's current strength, the chances of defeating him are not very high. You should also know that this level of battle is not good. If you don't do well, the entire Pill Pavilion might be wiped out. Therefore, before I have absolute confidence, I still have to rely on you to go up. When the red-clothed woman heard Pill Soul Heaven's words, her heart also experienced some ups and downs. Ever since she was young, she had really never seen the Pill Soul Heaven so solemn. It seemed that the young man had given his grandfather a lot of pressure. Grandpa, how strong is that young man? At this moment, the woman in red slowly asked the Pill Soul Sky. When the Pill Soul Heaven heard the woman in red, it turned around and walked toward her. Based on the information that grandfather has, there should be a few immortal emperors. They might even have reached the peak of the Immortal Emperor realm. Immortal Emperor peak stage? Hearing the words of the Pill Soul Sky, the red-robed woman did not immediately digest it. Immortal Emperor peak stage? No wonder even grandfather was so cautious. That person probably didn't use his full strength in Wanjin Heaven. Otherwise, he might have already. So now you know what kind of difficulties our Pill Pavilion is facing. Pill Soul Sky looked at the red-clothed woman's stunned expression and continued to speak to her. Grandpa, what do you want me to do? At this moment, the woman in red slowly said to the Pill Soul Sky. At this time, Pill Soul Heaven also sighed. Grandfather doesn't have high expectations for you. Go to that divine realm and be by his side. Grandpa, do you want me to monitor him? But my strength, the red-robed woman asked after hearing the words of the Pill Soul Sky. The red-robed woman felt that it was impossible to monitor a peak imperial immortal. The Pill Soul Heaven shook its head when it heard the woman in red. No, with your strength, once you get close to him, you will definitely be discovered immediately. And once there is malice, I'm afraid they will immediately turn into ashes. So, on the contrary, you have to take the initiative to approach him. Don't think about dealing with him. Instead, please him, make him trust you, and finally make yourself his woman. In this case, our Pill Pavilion will have a way out in the future. At this moment, Pill Soul Heaven also spoke to the red-robed woman earnestly. Hearing the words of the Pill Soul Sky, the red-clothed woman's body trembled. Just as she was about to say something, Dan Hun Tian continued. Hongi, Grandpa knows that this matter is a little unfair to you. However, isn't it an honor to be a woman at the peak of the Imperial Immortal stage? The red-robed woman fell silent for a moment when she heard the sky of Pill Soul's words. Then she continued. Grandpa, will that person take a fancy to me? As she spoke, the woman in red was not confident. Since the other party was an immortal emperor, he must have seen countless women. Why would he like a weak woman like her? Hongi, he will. He will take a fancy to you. Otherwise, how do you think you survived until now? At this moment, the Pill Soul Sky also said slowly to the woman in red. The red-robed woman also thought of something when she heard the sky of Pill Soul's words. Grandpa, when you were in Wanjin Tian, that person deliberately let me live, but he wasn't the one who attacked me. If it wasn't him, then at least it's related to him, right? At least without his permission, would the others have acted? Hongi, you only need to believe in yourself. Besides, Grandpa has prepared some methods for you. Grandpa believes that you can succeed. If it really doesn't work, take this thing. Perhaps you can use it. At this moment, Dan Hun Tian took out a jade bottle from his bosom and slowly handed it to the woman in red. The red-robed woman was also stunned when she saw the Pill Soul Sky handed her. Joyous unification powder. Don't worry, Hongi. This was personally refined by grandfather. Even an immortal emperor would be unable to stop after consuming it. The red-clothed woman nodded after keeping the jade bottle from the Pill Soul Sky into her interspatial ring. Okay, Grandpa. I'll try my best. Good granddaughter, hurry up and go. Under the persuasion of the Pill Soul Sky, the red-robed woman turned into a stream of light and flew toward the Saint Spirit sky. After the lady in red left, a figure slowly appeared beside Pill Soul Heaven. Have you done what you ordered? Pavilion Master, everything has been arranged for young Mississippi. If nothing unexpected happens, young Miss will definitely be able to marry that person. Hearing the guard's report, Dan Huntian muttered, Very good. Tell them that I'm going to be in seclusion for the next period of time. Don't come to me if there's nothing. As soon as he finished speaking, Dan Hun also puts Wuxia Yuan's corpse into his space ring. Together with the guard, their figures disappeared from where they were. At the same time, in the 10,000 mountains at this moment, Lin Changfeng was very excited. After a few days of hard work, he finally completed the 9 Heavens God Sealing Array. With Xiao Changshan's 9 flags, this 9 Heavens God Sealing formation was the strongest formation he had ever built in his life. At this moment, Lin Changfeng also called Xiao Changtian over. Senior, are you satisfied with this formation? Lin Changfeng pointed at the formation and said to Xiao Changtian. Seeing the flags on the island, Xiao Changtian knew that the old man had finished building the formation. However, the system still had the final say. While he was thinking about this, he also said slowly in his mind, System, are you satisfied with this sect protection array? Ding dong. The host has completed the mission. Reward, 100 ways of medicine, 1 herb furnace. Chapter 603. Senior looks up to a high mountain, Wunzenval. Siamacron M Divine Realm. 100,000 mountains. The system's voice slowly sounded in Xiao Changshan's mind. Xiao Changtian was also delighted. Originally, he had only brought this old man here to try his luck. He didn't expect that he could pass through the array system created by using a few flags. It was really a bloody profit. As he thought about this, Xiao Changtian saw the reward on the system panel. A medicinal herb stove was just a stove used to boil Chinese medicine. Also, the system was training him to become a doctor, right? Then, Xiao Changtian slowly placed the 100 methods of medicine and the medicinal herb furnace into the system's backpack. Anyway, the things given by the system were useless. They were all daily necessities. They might be able to sell them for money in the future. Then, the system's voice continued to ring in Xiao Changshan's mind. A new mission for the host. Collect all kinds of cultivation techniques and spiritual skills, and establish a sutra library. The system's voice slowly sounded in Xiao Changshan's mind. Xiao Changtian cursed in his heart. The missions issued by the system were really ridiculous. He was clearly just a mortal. He was lucky enough to meet an old man, to build a sect protection array. Now it was getting more and more excessive. He even wanted him to build a sutra depository. Wasn't this just to make fun of him? If only the old man had cultivation techniques and spirit skills. I've already cultivated long ago. Why would I submit to your pressure? After cursing in his heart for a while, Xiao Changtian also walked towards the inner part of the island. No, I can't indulge this stupid system too much. Lin Changfeng was also confused when he saw Xiao Changtian leave without saying anything. Could it be that Senior is not satisfied with the 9 Heavens God Sealing formation that I have built? Lin Changfeng scratched the back of his head and saw that the array in his arms had been completely resolved. He had comprehended it in an instant. Senior must have been afraid that he would be proud, so he didn't say anything. After all, there were still many things that he had not learned in this book. It must be like this. He had to study it well, and strive to make the 9 Heavens God Sealing formation reach the level that Senior was satisfied with as soon as possible. With that thought in mind, Lin Changfeng walked towards his residence. Senior's cultivation was so profound, but he still didn't give up on advancing. In this God world where spiritual energy was thin, the mortal world tempered one's heart. With his immortal king cultivation base, if he didn't work hard, he would be chased away by his senior in the future. He would really have no face to live on. At the same time, in a small town outside the Shirwan mountain, there was some blood on the flower fairy's chest, and Cui who was beside her, was supporting her. The two women looked at the black figures in the air with cold expressions. Palace Master, do you really have to be so heartless? The flower fairy looked at an old woman in the air and said slowly. The old woman was wearing a golden crown and holding a walking stick in her hand. Strangely, there was a wreath attached to the head of the walking stick. When the old woman heard the flower fairy's words, she smiled at her and said, "Look at you. Why are you so disobedient with such a face? Previously, when First Elder and the others came to look for you, it was fine if you didn't agree. I'm asking you to find the man you like now. Can't you do this? Furthermore, it's a matchmaker from the human realm upon heavens. Don't be so shameless." Although the old woman was old, her words carried a hint of resentment. At the same time, he looked at the black shadow in front of him with reverence. Previously, the flower fairy had refused to form a marriage alliance with other factions. He also planned to let it go. He didn't expect that a fierce person would suddenly appear in the past few days, claiming to be from the legendary human realm upon heavens. He really didn't care if this person was the palace master of the flower fairy palace, who came from the human realm upon heavens. What he was concerned about was that the other party was strong, and his pill refinement technique was even more divine. Just by casually giving them a few medicinal pills, their cultivation would rise. The other party's condition for providing them with pills was very simple. He wanted the flower fairy to get in touch with Xiao Changtian. The flower fairy heard the words of the Hua Celestial Palace Lord and shouted coldly, "Palace Master sincerely wants me to get in touch with Senior, so I'm naturally very grateful. But if you want me to humiliate Senior, I'm sorry, I really can't do it." The Palace Lord of the Flower Fairy Palace was also a little angry after hearing the Flower Fairy's words. "It's really a waste for the sect to nurture you all these years. If I were a few decades younger, how could I?" Before the Palace Master of Hua Fairy Palace could finish her sentence, she saw the black shadow in front of her raise her arm. She obediently shut her mouth. "All right, why are you talking so much nonsense?" As he spoke, the black shadow waved his hand, and a huge cage appeared in the air. The people locked in the cage were all people more or less related to the flower fairy. "If you don't want them to die, take this pill." As soon as he finished speaking, the black shadow waved his hand, and a jade bottle landed in front of the flower fairy. Seeing the person in the cage, the flower fairy and Chuyer were shocked. Before he could say anything, he heard the black shadow's voice continue. "And her?" After the black shadow's voice fell in her ears, Chueyer's figure involuntarily flew towards the cage. "Miss Chuyer." The flower fairy looked at Chuyer in the air and felt helpless. "You only need to make a choice. Are you convinced or not?" The black shadow's cold voice rang in the flower fairy's ears. The flower fairy struggled for a moment and slowly picked up the jade bottle on the ground. "Miss, no, don't." Chuyer was locked in the cage. Her hands grabbed the iron bars of the cage and shook her head at the flower fairy. Looking at the people in the cage, a trace of tears fell from the corner of Fairy Hua's mouth. Then, he took the pill that the black shadow had given him. After consuming it, the flower fairy's eyes flashed with a purple light. "Very good." The black shadow waved his hand, and the cage beside him disappeared. Then, he arrived in front of the flower fairy and slowly said to her, "From now on, I, Su Tian, am your master. Now follow my instructions." While the flower fairy was being controlled by Su Tian, a woman slowly stood in the divine world. It was the red-robed woman who had rushed from treasure pill heaven to the divine world. The red-clothed lattice eyes swept across the land below as she muttered, "That young man is a peerless expert. It was right for me to give myself to him. It should be there." After repeating the words a few times, the red-robed woman also flew towards the 100,000 mountains where Xiao Changtian was. Chapter 604. Indeed, I can't hide anything from Senior. Box novel. Siam the Holy Spirit fruit does no divine realm. 100,000 mountain lake Xiao Changtian was resting on a rocking chair. However, there was a self-made umbrella above him. It was simply too comfortable. At this moment, the great sun immortal also slowly came to his side. "Senior, Miss Lung and the others want to see you." Xiao Changtian stood up from his rocking chair after hearing the words of the great sun immortal. "Miss Lung and the others are here. Let's go and meet them." Speaking of which, he was able to complete the missions given by the system these few times. It was all thanks to the information given to him by the cold maidens. Otherwise, he might not be able to complete anything by relying on a salted fish like himself. Therefore, when Xiao Changtian heard that Leng Xiaoxiao and the others had arrived, he also wanted to entertain them. Soon, Xiao Changtian saw Leng Xiaoxiao and Leng Mei who were coming towards him. Leng Xiaoxiao came to Xiao Changshan's side and handed him the basket in her hand. "Senior, this is the Holy Spirit fruit we just picked. I hope you like it." Seeing Leng Xiaoxiao handing him the basket, Xiao Changtian smiled at them and said, "Miss Leng, just come. Why are you so polite? This is a walnut." Xiao Changtian saw the things in the basket and blurted out, "Walnut? What walnuts? Senior, this is the Holy Spirit fruit." Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Leng Mei also went over at this time. He pointed at the fruits in the basket and said to Xiao Changtian, "What? Does Senior like walnuts?" Although she had never heard of walnuts, Leng Mei asked Xiao Changtian with a smile, "I like it. Walnuts are good. They nourish the brain." At this moment, Xiao Changtian also pointed at Leng Xiaoxiao and said with a smile. Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Leng Xiaoxiao and Leng Mei looked at each other. As expected, "I can't hide anything from Senior. This Holy Spirit fruit really has such an effect." While speaking, Leng Mei also imitated Xiao Changtian and pointed at his own head. The Holy Spirit fruit was a product of the spirit race, so its greatest effect was naturally to nourish the soul. Seeing Leng Mei's appearance, Xiao Changtian also smiled foolishly. How could he not know this? In his previous life, in order to let knowledge know him, he had to learn to understand him. He had eaten countless walnuts. The result was that I was still me, and knowledge was still knowledge. He might know me, but I definitely didn't know him. However, in the cultivation world, walnuts had a different name. They were called Holy Spirit fruits. Then under Xiao Changshan's lead, Leng Xiaoxiao and the others also came to the main hall. Sitting beside Leng Xiaoxiao and the others, Xiao Changtian said to them, "I have to thank the two ladies for providing me with so much information." Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Leng Xiaoxiao also looked flattered. They had come today mainly to thank Xiao Changtian for saving their spiritual race, especially when Zhuo Luyan attacked the spirit race. If Xiao Changtian didn't arrive in time, the spirit race might have ceased to exist. Leng Xiaoxiao quickly said to Xiao Changtian, "Senior, you must be joking. With your ability, it would definitely be easy for you to get that information. We should thank Senior instead." Hearing Leng Xiaoxiao's words, Xiao Changshan's mouth twitched. "Miss Leng, you must be joking. If he could really get this easily, he wouldn't have come to this poor village." However, Miss Leng's mouth knew how to speak. Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Leng Xiaoxiao knew that Xiao Changtian was cultivating his heart in the mortal world, so she didn't say anything. Then he slowly said to Xiao Changtian, "Senior, when we came here, we saw that the small town outside was holding a poetry competition. I wonder if Senior is interested in participating?" Leng Xiaoxiao had also paid attention when she arrived. The small town outside the 100,000 mountains was holding a poetry competition. Most of the participants were mortals, so they thought that it might help Xiao Changshan's cultivation. Leng Xiaoxiao also brought it up. Hearing Leng Xiaoxiao's words, Xiao Changtian pondered for a while, and then said to Leng Xiaoxiao and the others, "Well, in that case, let's go over and take a look." He did not want to do the mission given by the system for the time being. Since he had nothing to do on the island, and someone wanted to invite him, he might as well go and take a look. At the same time, outside the 100,000 mountains, the woman in red slowly landed on a mountain peak and looked at the 100,000 mountains in front of her. He clenched his fists tightly, clearly still feeling a little nervous. "Hongyi, you can do it. That young man is a peerless expert. It's not a loss to be with him." As Hongyi spoke, a black shadow slowly walked out from the surroundings. It was Su Tian, who had controlled the flower fairy earlier. After Su Tian walked out, he slowly said to the woman in red, "Miss, this subordinate has been waiting here for a long time." Hearing a voice behind her, the red-clothed woman turned around abruptly. "Su Tian, why are you here? Wasn't this person in front of him his grandfather's bodyguard?" When Su Tian heard the woman in red's words, he slowly said to her, Lord Dan asked this subordinate to come here to wait for Miss. This is what Lord gave to Miss, please take a look. As he spoke, Su Tian also handed a red invitation card to the red-robed woman. The red-clothed woman took it from Su Tian's hands. After flipping it open and examining it, she muttered to herself, Poetry competition. After keeping the red invitation, the red-clothed lady slowly said to Su Tian, Grandfather, do you have any other instructions? Lord Dan said that Miss only needs to act according to the plan. Su Tian slowly replied after hearing the woman in red's words. The red-robed woman's face turned red as she waved her hand at Su Tian. All right, I got it. Su Tian's figure slowly disappeared from her sight after the red-clothed woman finished speaking. Then, the woman in red turned into a stream of light and slowly flew toward the small town outside the 100,000 mountains. At the same time, in the small town outside the 100,000 mountains, at this moment, there were already lanterns and streamers around the unique stream in the town. Do you know that the Flower Fairy is going to hold a poetry competition? This is a rare blessing competition. Hurry up. When the mortals and cultivators in the town heard that the Flower Fairy was going to hold a poetry meeting, they were all excited. After all, those who lived here were either cultivators with low cultivation or mortals. They had to endure the harassment of the ferocious beasts in the 100,000 mountains all year round. They were very excited about these prayer meetings, poetry meetings, and so on. Perhaps he would be lucky enough to have an expert to protect him and live a few more years here. Chapter 605. However, you're still a little less than Misenvel. CM1 Divine Realm, a small town outside the 100,000 mountains. Xiao Changtian and Lung Xiaoxiao were walking in the town. Xiao Changtian sighed when he saw how lively the town was. When he first came here a while ago, this town was also holding some kind of blessing meeting. From the looks of it, this poetry competition should be about the same. If there was anything different, it would be that there were more people participating this time. Soon, Xiao Changtian and the others arrived at the stream. Senior, are you interested in participating? Lung Mei asked Xiao Changtian, as she looked around with her big eyes. Let's just take a look. Xiao Changtian responded to Lung Mei's words. He saw the colorful lanterns on both sides of the stream, and the words on the banners. In the cultivation world, martial arts were valued over literature. The cultural level of these poems was enough for him to crush them by reciting 300 Tang poems when he was young. He was just here to take a look. If he really went up to compete with them, wouldn't it be a blow to his reputation? At this moment, a pleasant voice slowly sounded in Xiao Changshan's ears. Seeing how refined Mr. is Mr. also here to participate in the poetry competition? Hearing this voice, Xiao Changtian also looked to his side. He saw a woman in red with an enchanting figure looking at him with a smile. Suddenly being hit on by a beautiful woman, Xiao Changtian smiled politely at her. I just came to take a look. Before coming, the red-clothed woman had already dressed up meticulously. She had specially dressed herself up to be more seductive and sexy. He thought that he could attract Xiao Changshan's attention. After all, he had already investigated. This senior was pretending to be a young man. Wasn't he just at the age where he was full of vigor? Why didn't he react at all? He only said one sentence, and then stopped. Seeing that Xiao Changtian didn't continue to speak, the woman in red continued. I have just arrived here and have been very interested in these poems since I was young. I'm new here. I wonder if I can travel with you. Xiao Changtian hesitated for a moment when he heard the woman in red's words. He then slowly said to her, Okay, all right. Looking at the lady in red, Xiao Changtian recalled the time when he first came here. It was also thanks to the Flower Fairies' help that they were able to find the 100,000 mountains. Now that this woman had just arrived, he would help her if he could. Then Xiao Changtian said to Lung Xiaoxiao and Lung Lingyu, Miss Lung, you won't mind, right? After Xiao Changtian spoke to Lung Xiaoxiao and the others, the red-robed woman realized that Lung Xiaoxiao and the others were with Xiao Changtian. Lung Xiaoxiao of the spiritual race Lung Mei. When the red-robed woman saw Lung Xiaoxiao and the other two, She also muttered in her heart. No wonder Senior didn't care so much about his appearance. Lung Xiaoxiao and the others were indeed comparable to him. However, that was all. When Lung Xiaoxiao and the others heard this, they also said to Xiao Changtian. He said, "We listened to the senior's call." Lung Xiaoxiao had noticed the woman in red the moment she appeared. The woman in red gave her a feeling of extreme danger. At least in terms of cultivation, he was definitely stronger than him. Lung Xiaoxiao didn't understand why such a beautiful expert would approach them. However, with Senior by his side, there should be nothing to worry about. Lung Mei looked at the red-robed woman and spoke with a hint of jealousy. All right then. Then let's go over there and take a look. At this moment, there were many people, and some of them could not see clearly. Xiao Changtian also pointed to a higher viewing platform. He said to the three women beside him. Hearing Xiao Changshan's words, Lung Xiaoxiao and the woman in red nodded immediately. Then he followed behind Xiao Changtian. When the lady in red walked to Lung Mei's side, she also said to her slowly, "Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. But there are some things that you can't touch. In terms of looks and figure, you're not bad, but you're still a little lacking compared to me." Lung Mei also reacted after receiving the red-clothed lattice voice transmission. It turned out that this person was here to compete with him for a senior. Immediately, he became angry and transmitted a message to the red-clothed woman. "Who are you? You must have ill intentions for suddenly approaching Senior. Do you think Senior will take a fancy to you?" Although Lung Mei admitted that this red-clothed woman's figure was indeed not bad. However, who was Senior? His strength was so profound. What kind of woman had he not seen before? How could he take a fancy to her? When the red-clothed woman received Lung Mei's voice transmission, she also responded fiercely to her. "You are not qualified to know who I am. The more you know, the more trouble you will bring upon yourself." Lung Xiaoxiao was beside them. She didn't know what had happened between them. However, when he saw the way they looked at each other, he knew that nothing good was going to happen. He then said to the two of them, "All right, if you don't leave now, you won't be able to keep up with Senior." Hearing Lung Xiaoxiao's words, the red-robed woman and Lung Mei saw Xiao Changtian, who had already walked a distance away. They immediately chased after each other. Lung Xiaoxiao felt a headache coming on. Soon Xiao Changtian, Lung Xiaoxiao and the others also arrived on the platform. Then, Xiao Changtian and the others saw a flower boat slowly swimming past the stream. Seeing this flower boat, Xiao Changtian also muttered in his heart. Wasn't this the flower fairy's boat from last time? Could it be that this poetry competition was organized by the flower fairy? Last time, he was inexplicably chosen. Could it be that this time? As Xiao Changtian thought about this, a wreath fell on his body. Then, a clear female voice came from the boat. "Those who have received the wreath, please come to the ship and write a poem. Those who can obtain the approval of the fairy will receive blessings." Xiao Changtian looked at the wreath in his hand and was dumbfounded. No way, what a coincidence. However, he knew the flower fairy, and it seemed like he hadn't seen her for a long time. Since he had been chosen, he would go and meet him. Then Xiao Changtian walked towards the boat. Someone in the crowd seemed to have recognized him. "Wow, why is it him again? I remember that he was chosen by the fairy last time. Could this person be the legendary European king? Other than being a little handsome, how can I not compare to him?" As expected, handsome people are also very lucky. Xiao Changtian also came to the boat amidst the envious voices. In the cabin, the flower fairy's eyes flashed with purple light. Chapter 606. You're a Heartless Man. Wunzenval. Siam Divine Realm. A small town outside the 100,000 mountains. Xiao Changtian, escorted by a few maids, slowly came to the boat. "Young master, please." A maid pointed at the cabin and said to Xiao Changtian. Xiao Changtian nodded at the maid. Then he walked into the cabin. Just like the last time he saw the flower fairy, Xiao Changtian also saw the flower fairy sitting in the cabin, playing the zither. Seeing the flower fairy, Xiao Changtian said to her slowly, "Flower fairy, long time no see." The flower fairy also replied, "That's right, I didn't expect to see young master here again." While speaking, the fairy slowly walked to Xiao Changtian. "Xiao Changtian, Do you know what you told me after we left the 100,000 mountains? We can meet soon. But if I didn't hold this poetry competition today, would you have abandoned me? At this moment, the flower fairy was also glaring at Xiao Changtian like a shrew. Flower fairy, I've indeed been too busy recently. If I cause you any trouble, I don't need you to be so hypocritical. Before Xiao Changtian could finish his words, the flower fairy in front of him waved her sleeves and said fiercely to him, "Who do you think you are? Aren't you just good at playing the piano and raising a few divine beasts? I'm telling you, in my eyes these are nothing, you're a heartless man." Xiao Changtian forced a smile on his face. Flower fairy, are you misunderstanding something? He could understand why this flower girl said she knew how to play the piano. However, how could he not know how many divine beasts he had raised? Wasn't this nonsense? If I had raised a few divine beasts, I wouldn't have come to such a remote village like the 100,000 mountains. Also, how did I become a heartless man? I don't seem to have any feelings for you, right? Xiao Changtian seriously suspected that the flower fairy had been provoked by something. The flower fairy heard Xiao Changshan's words and also laughed out loud. Misunderstanding? What misunderstanding? Let me tell you, a heartless man like you will never have a woman who will fall for you. Hearing the flower fairy's words, Xiao Changtian was furious. Just as he was about to do something, he saw a figure pass by him. Pa! Then, a crisp sound slowly sounded in the cabin. I don't think anyone would like a shrew like you. At this time, Lung Mei had unknowingly arrived in front of Xiao Changtian. He pointed at the flower fairy in front of him and said slowly. Lung Mei's slap also directly sent the veil on the flower fairy's face flying. The flower fairy covered her burning face and looked at Lung Mei in front of her. She said to her coldly, "Who are you? Who let you up here? Men chase her out. Where did you all go?" After Lung Mei heard the flower fairy's words, she also responded slowly. "There's no need to shout. Those people have already been dealt with. Let me tell you, there are many women who fancy Senior. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you have a little bit of charm. In terms of beauty, you're far inferior to me." At this moment, Lung Mei also learned what the red-clothed woman had said to her previously. At this moment, Lung Mei turned to Xiao Changtian and said slowly, "Senior, you won't mind me doing this, right?" Seeing Lung Mei sticking out her tongue at him, Xiao Changtian waved his hand at her. "Thank you so much." Xiao Changtian had mixed feelings. The flower fairy was originally a good girl. How did it suddenly become like this? Could this be the legendary love turning into hate? But that was not right. He was just a mortal. Why would the other party take a fancy to him? When the flower fairy heard Lung Mei's words, she looked at her and said slowly, "Lung Mei, when I was in the 100,000 mountains, I was already unhappy with you. Don't you have your own good looks that are better than mine?" When Lung Mei heard the flower fairy's words, he immediately reacted in his heart. Looking at Xiao Changtian beside her, her pretty face blushed. The flower fairy's voice continued to slowly travel over. "See, you're hesitating yourself. You've taken a fancy to too many of Senior's women. What a joke. Xiao Changtian, if you have the ability, don't stand behind a woman." Then, the flower fairy turned her head and provoked Xiao Changtian. When Lung Mei heard the flower fairy's words, she also stomped her foot. Hey Miss Lung, I know. You don't have to say it." Before Lung Mei could finish her words, Xiao Changtian spoke to her slowly. Then, he walked to the flower fairy's words and slowly said to her, "Flower fairy, I think there's nothing more to say between us." As soon as he finished speaking, Xiao Changtian also wanted to bring Lung Mei out. He had thought that he would be quite happy with this poem competition today. He did not expect to encounter such a thing. He did not know what this flower girl had experienced. It was better for him to let her calm down. Lung Mei looked at Xiao Changtian beside him and felt a little nervous. It turned out that Senior had always known about his love for him. The Senior didn't reject him just now. Did that mean that he still had a chance? Thinking of this, Lung Mei felt a burst of sweetness in her heart. At this moment, the flower fairy saw Xiao Changtian wanting to leave with Lung Mei. He also shouted at them, "Stop, where are you going? You injured my people, and you want to leave?" As she spoke, The flower fairy also came in front of Xiao Changtian and Lung Mei, blocking their way. When Lung Mei heard the flower fairy's words, he also said to Xiao Changtian, "Senior, I didn't injure them." Xiao Changtian looked at the flower fairy in front of him and frowned. Was this flower girl going to fight to the death? Then, Xiao Changtian also planned to bring Lung Mei to the other side. Seeing Xiao Changtian ignore her, the flower fairy also took out a white veil. Then, he waved the white muslin in his hand and was about to attack Xiao Changtian. At the same time, a voice slowly sounded in the cabin. "Woman, sir has already given you a lot of face. Don't push your luck." As soon as she finished speaking, the woman in red slowly appeared between Xiao Changtian and the flower fairy. He held the gauze that the flower fairy wanted to use to attack Xiao Changtian, and he looked at her angrily. After all, Xiao Changtian was the man she wanted to fall in love with. How could the woman in red tolerate others humiliating Xiao Changtian? Furthermore, this woman's cultivation was so low that she was not worthy of Xiao Changtian. Chapter 607. Teach the Flower Fairy a Lesson. 1 Zenvel. CM in the cabin of a flower boat in a small town outside the 100,000 mountains. The flower fairy saw the woman in red who had suddenly appeared in front of her. After tugging at the white veil in his hand a few times, and realizing that it did not budge, he said fiercely to the red-clothed woman, "And who are you?" "You are still not qualified to know who I am," the red-robed woman replied rudely. Then, she pulled the white veil in her hand. The flower fairy staggered and almost fell to the ground. At this moment, Xiao Changtian also came to the side of the woman in red. "Thank you for your help." At the same time, Xiao Changtian looked at the flower fairy who almost fell to the ground and said to her, "Miss Hua, I really didn't expect you to become like this." The flower fairy heard Xiao Changshan's words and ignored him. He still had a smile on his face as he walked behind him. He pulled out a long sword from under his table. As soon as the long sword was drawn, a bone-piercing chill rippled in the cabin. This sword was not simple. When the woman in red saw the sword, she felt a sense of familiarity for some reason. He should have seen this sword somewhere before. However, he couldn't recall it for a while. Xiao Changtian saw the flower fairy suddenly pull out a long sword and said to her, "Miss Hua, what are you doing?" At the same time, Xiao Changtian said to Lung Mei and the woman in red beside him, "Miss Lung, Miss Hongyi, you can leave first. I'll take care of this place." Xiao Changtian was certain that the flower fairy was suffering from a serious illness. He actually pulled out a long sword to deal with them. This made it seem as if there was a great hatred between them. Moreover, there were only him and 2 women in this cabin. He was still alright. After receiving the system's training, he could still deal with it. However, it was unknown if Miss Lung and the lady in red had learned any self-defense skills. If he was cut down by the flower fairy, something might happen. When the flower fairy heard Xiao Changshan's words, her lips curled into a smile. "Xiao Changtian, are you scared?" "Why? It's not that easy to leave. I'm going to make you stay here today to atone for your sins." Then, the flower fairy raised her sword and attacked Xiao Changtian and the others. Seeing the flower fairy, Xiao Changtian also planned to go over and deal with her. However, before he could move, the woman in red charged at the flower fairy. "Sir, be careful. Leave this to me." The woman in red grabbed the flower fairy's arm and said to Xiao Changtian. Xiao Changtian was also stunned when he saw the woman in red suddenly rushing in front of him. So the lady in red was a tough woman. "Lady in red, I think it's still too dangerous. Let me do it." Although the woman in red took the initiative to attack, Xiao Changtian was still worried. How did she become a freeloader here today? The red-robed woman slowly responded to Xiao Changshan's words. "Sir, there's no need. Let me do it." Xiao Changtian shrugged his shoulders when he heard the woman in red. "Alright, why not?" Then, the woman in red and the flower fairy looked at each other and said slowly, "You want to fight with teacher? Let me tell you, you're not worthy." Hong Yi's words seemed to have angered the flower fairy. When the flower fairy heard her words, she also attacked her. "I want you dead." The woman in red saw the flower fairy brandishing her sword at her. Seizing her weakness, He raised one leg and kicked at the flower fairy's hand. With a swoosh, the longsword left the flower fairy's hand. Then, the woman in red punched the flower fairy's face. Bang! The flower fairy was hit by the woman in red and flew backward. Sir, let's go. The woman in red came to Xiao Changtian and said slowly. Xiao Changtian nodded at the woman in red. He really didn't expect this red-dressed girl to be so fierce. Then Xiao Changtian, the woman in red, and Leng Mei also left the boat. Walking out of the flower boat, the surrounding cultivators saw the red-robed woman and Leng Mei beside Xiao Changtian. Wow! How did this person go in and come out with two beauties? Could it be that fairy's blessing is to send a beautiful woman? Fairy, I also want to accept your blessing. The cultivator shouted at the boat while the cultivator beside him slowly said to him, why don't you take a look at yourself, and then look at him? Do you think he's qualified to be chosen? Although that young man is a little handsome, I'm still a cultivator. Look at him. He doesn't have any aura at all. At this moment, the cultivator's envious voice slowly sounded. Soon Xiao Changtian and Leng Mei left the town. This poetry contest was too bad for them. Not long after Xiao Changtian and the others left, a few figures slowly appeared on the flower boat. It was Su Tian, and the palace lord of the Flower Fairy Palace. Su Tian slowly walked into the cabin. Using his unique method, he also sensed the Flower Fairy's location. Su Tian smiled when he saw the Flower Fairy lying on the ground. According to his plan, he wanted the Flower Fairy to humiliate Xiao Changtian. It would be best to anger her, and then let Hong Yi resolve it. He left a good impression on Xiao Changtian, and he was stimulated again. Su Tian felt that Hong Yi's chances of taking down Xiao Changtian should be 80 to 90%. Miss, well, wait for your good news now, Su Tian muttered. At this moment, the palace lord of the Flower Fairy Palace also came to Su Tian's side and slowly said to him, Sir, where is the Flower Fairy? This lord said that he was looking for the Flower Fairy, but he didn't see her. Su Tian pointed at a figure in the corner. Over there. The palace lord of the Flower Fairy Palace walked over and helped the Flower Fairy up from the ground. She then slowly said to Su Tian, My lord, this pighead, how could it be the Flower Fairy? That girl wouldn't have run away, right? As long as you give the order, this old woman will immediately find it for you. Su Tian looked at the Flower Fairy's face when he heard the words of the palace lord of the Flower Fairy Palace. The corner of his mouth twitched. If it weren't for the perception of the medicinal pill, he would have thought that this wasn't the Flower Fairy. Then Su Tian slowly said to the palace lord of the Flower Fairy Palace, There's no need. She is. As for why her face is like this, she was beaten. As he said that, Su Tian slowly left the cabin. Chapter 608. Senior, can I invite you to a place, Wenzhenvel? CM Divine Realm. 100,000 mountains. After Xiao Changtian left the boat, he also stayed in an inn in the town. After staying in the inn, the woman in red saw her voice transmission jade pendant light up. After picking up the voice transmission jade pendant, the red-clothed woman also received Su Tian's voice transmission. Young miss, the pavilion master has spoken. This is the time when that young man is at his most lonely and empty. As long as Miss takes the initiative, she will definitely succeed. Upon receiving Su Tian's voice transmission, the red-robed woman felt a wave of nervousness in her heart. Was this moment finally coming? Then the woman in red slowly replied to Su Tian. Okay, I understand. Tell Grandpa and let him rest assured. After replying, the woman in red slowly walked towards Xiao Changshan's room. Bang! 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 Xiao Changtian was lying on the bed in the room when he heard a sound coming from the door. He walked to the door and opened it. When he saw the woman in red, he said to her, Lady in red, what's the matter? The red-robed woman looked at Xiao Changtian, feeling a little nervous. Senior, can I invite you to a place? Xiao Changtian slowly said to the red-clothed lady. Okay, all right. After all, he had helped her on the flower boat just now. Looking at the other party's appearance, it seemed that there was something that he needed his help with. Hearing Xiao Changshan's agreement, the red-robed woman was delighted. Next, the first step was a success. As Xiao Changtian followed the woman in red out, They soon arrived in front of a pavilion. "Sir, I've always yearned for this place since I was young. This is my first time here. I wonder if we can go in together?" The red-dressed woman pointed at the attic in front of her, her face slightly red, and said shyly to Xiao Changtian. Xiao Changtian heard the woman in red's words, and looked at the pavilion in front of him. There were 3 big words written on the attic, Yihong Pavilion. Seeing the red-clothed lad's somewhat bashful appearance, Xiao Changtian also somewhat understood. It seemed like the red-dressed girl was just like the others, curious about the places she had never been to. The girl in red's family must have told her not to go to such a place when she was young. Therefore, he was very curious about this place. He had probably brought him here, because he was afraid of encountering some danger. After all, it was not convenient for a girl to come to such a place. With this thought in mind, Xiao Changtian slowly said to the woman in red, "Lady in red, let's go in." Okay. Then, under Xiao Changshan's lead, the lady in red slowly entered the happy red pavilion. As soon as they entered, Xiao Changtian and the red-robed woman saw a scene of flowers, red wine and green. At this moment, an old old walked towards Xiao Changtian and the woman in red. "Dear guests, do you have any girls you like?" Xiao Changtian looked at the old woman in front of him and said slowly, "No need. We're just here to take a look." The red-robed woman looked at the woman beside them and slowly transmitted her voice to her. "Get lost." Sensing the power in the woman's words, the old woman knew that the 2 people in front of her were not people she could offend. He smiled and said to them, "Then I wish the 2 of you a happy stay here." The old woman walked to the side after she finished speaking. Soon, the woman in red and Xiao Changtian arrived at a room above. After entering the room, the woman in red looked at Xiao Changtian shyly. "Lady in red, please sit." At this moment, Xiao Changtian said to the woman in red, "There's actually nothing new about this place. It's better not to come here." The woman in red nodded at Xiao Changtian. Then, the 2 of them sat at the table in silence for a while. The red-robed woman looked at Xiao Changtian beside her. He had already hinted so clearly, but why hadn't Senior taken any action yet? At this moment, the woman in red touched Xiao Changshan's arm. "What's wrong, Miss Red?" Xiao Changtian drank a cup of tea from the teacup on the table and felt the touch on his arm. Xiao Changtian said slowly to the woman in red. The woman in red heard Xiao Changshan's words and was about to say something. Then, she heard a series of sounds coming from outside the room. At this moment, Xiao Changtian also said to her slowly, "Lady in red, go take a look." It was better for him to pay more attention to this place. Seeing Xiao Changtian leave, the lady in red thought of something. He slowly took out a jade bottle from his interspatial ring. Looking at the jade bottle in her hand, the woman in red gritted her teeth. "Red shirt, you can definitely do it." With this thought in mind, the red-robed woman also looked at the teapot on the table. Seeing that Xiao Changtian wasn't paying attention to this place, he was also at the door. He immediately poured some medicinal powder into the teapot. After doing all this, the red-robed woman immediately put the jade bottle back into her ring. He looked at Xiao Changtian with a guilty conscience. At the same time, Xiao Changtian came to the door. He slowly opened the door and saw Lung Mei outside. "Miss Lung." Xiao Changtian was also surprised to see Lung Mei. Why was Miss Lung here? Lung Mei saw Xiao Changtian and smiled at him. "Senior, why are you here? Is it convenient for me to go in?" Hearing Lung Mei's words, Xiao Changtian was also stunned. Then he said to her, "Come in." Miss Lung was probably curious about this place and came here. After Lung Mei entered the room, she also saw the red-clothed woman inside. After the lady in red left the inn with Xiao Changtian, Lung Mei also noticed it at the first moment. As his competitor, Cold Charm was also very concerned about the red-dressed woman. The red-robed woman was also stunned when she saw Lung Mei, who had suddenly arrived. Then, his expression turned cold as he slowly transmitted his voice to Lung Mei. "What are you doing here? What are you doing here?" When Lung Mei received the red-clothed woman's voice transmission, she did not show any weakness and transmitted her voice. Seeing Lung Mei's smug look, the red-clothed woman was also a little angry. Since it had come to this, the red-clothed woman couldn't say anything. He could only take one step at a time. At this time, Xiao Changtian also came to the woman in red and Lung Mei. He said to them slowly, "Miss Red, since Miss Lung is here, come with us." Letting Lung Mei mingle here alone, Xiao Changtian was also not at ease. Xiao Changtian said to the woman in red, Chapter 609:1 Didn't think the two ladies had this hobbit Wunzenvel. Siam Divine Realm, a small town outside the 100,000 mountains. Xiao Changtian, Lung Mei, and the woman in red were sitting in the room. At this moment, Xiao Changtian also said to the lady in red and Lung Mei, "Ladies, it's late. Why don't we rest?" Xiao Changtian was about to get up and book another room. Seeing that Xiao Changtian was about to leave, the red-robed woman was also anxious. If this senior left, wouldn't his plan fail at the last step? As she thought about this, the red-robed woman spoke to Xiao Changtian. "Senior, please wait a moment." Xiao Changtian stopped for a moment when he heard the woman in red. Then he turned around and said to the woman in red, "Lady in red, what's the matter?" Looking at Xiao Changshan's face, the red-robed woman was also a little nervous. Then, he picked up the teapot and poured a cup of water. "Senior, have a drink before you leave." Xiao Changtian smiled at the woman in red. When the red-dressed woman saw the smile on her face, she felt nervous. Senior, could it be that he discovered something? At this moment, the hand of the woman in red holding the teacup was also trembling. Xiao Changtian slowly walked up to the woman in red. "Miss in red, it's good to drink more water. Let's drink a cup together." "All right." Xiao Changtian was holding a teapot and pouring water. Lung Mei also seized this opportunity and walked over. This red shirt was trying to curry favor with Senior for no reason. She definitely had some plan. He couldn't let the other party get the upper hand. With this thought in mind, Lung Mei took the cup of water that Xiao Changtian handed over, and directly let her drink it all. When the red-dressed lady saw Lung Mei's actions, she looked at her with a strange gaze. After Lung Mei drank a cup of water, she did not feel anything wrong. Xiao Changtian saw that the woman in red had not finished her cup. He also slowly said to her, "Miss in red, drink the water. A cup of water before you sleep is good for your body." The woman in red nodded at Xiao Changtian. At this moment, if he did not drink it, wouldn't the thing in the water be discovered? Soon, the woman in red also drank the cup in her hand. Xiao Changtian also drank the cup in his hand after seeing the woman in red drink it. "All right, Miss Red, Miss Lung, you should rest early." Xiao Changtian exchanged a few words with Lung Mei and the others, then slowly walked towards the door. It was already so late. It was not appropriate for him to stay here. If he did not do well, the reputation of this red-dressed girl and Miss Lung would be ruined by him. Soon, Xiao Changtian also left the room where Lung Mei and the woman in red were. He opened a new room and walked into it. He also felt his body heat up. What was going on? Xiao Changtian felt a wave of restlessness in his body. He placed his hand on his forehead and touched it. Could it be that he had been on fire recently? With that thought in mind, Xiao Changtian quickly took out a detoxification pill from his interspatial ring. He had refined it according to the formula given by the system. Hopefully it would be of some use. Holding the pill in his hand, Xiao Changtian also picked up the water bottle on the table. Xiao Changtian also slowly went to bed to sleep after taking the detoxification pill. On the other side, in the room of Lung Mei and the woman in red, Lung Mei paced back and forth in the room, thinking about the intention of the woman in red just now. At this moment, Lung Mei also felt a burst of heat in her body. He glanced at the red-robed woman, who was currently sitting cross-legged on the bed. At this moment, Lung Mei took off her coat. The red-clothed woman suppressed her own heat and spoke slowly in her heart. "Senior, why are you still not here? The medicinal effects of this pill that grandfather gave seem to be a little too strong." At the same time, the red-dressed woman's forehead was covered in sweat. After Lung Mei walked a few rounds in the room, she also felt that something was wrong with her body. Then, he realized something and slowly said to the woman in red, "What did you put in the tea just now?" Upon hearing Lung Mei's voice, the red-clothed woman also realized that her plan had been seen through by Lung Mei. However, the heat in his heart was no better than Lung Mei's. Looking at Lung Mei, he also said slowly to her, "Quickly use your internal energy to suppress the effects of the medicine. Otherwise, no one can save you later." Lung Mei also pointed at the red-clothed woman when she heard her words. "You." Then a wave of heat surged into his heart. After the heat swallowed her rationality, Lung Mei slowly walked towards the bed where the red-clothed woman was. "What do you want?" The red-clothed lady looked at Lung Mei, who was walking towards her, and shouted at her. At this moment, Lung Mei had already come to the bedside. Looking at the red-clothed woman in front of her, she was about to pounce on her. Whoosh! When the red-clothed woman saw Lung Mei pouncing at her, her figure flashed, and she dodged to the other side. This action of the red-dressed woman also broke her original meditation posture. The heat in her body could not be suppressed, and it directly swallowed her rationality. Ah! At this moment, Lung Mei also let out a moan. The woman in red, who had lost her mind, was entangled with Lung Mei at this moment. The two of them slept on the bed together. Not long after, the entire bed started shaking violently. At the same time, a series of sounds came from the door. After no one opened the door, Xiao Changtian slowly pushed it open. "Miss Lung, the red-dressed girl. I was feeling a little uncomfortable just now. I don't know if you can cure me, so I was planning to take the antidote." Xiao Changtian hadn't finished his words when he saw Lung Mei and the red-robed woman struggling on the bed. She quickly turned around and covered her eyes. "Do not look at evil. Do not look at evil." After silently reciting it in his heart, Xiao Changtian slowly said to Lung Mei and the rest, "Miss Lung, I didn't see anything just now. I didn't see anything. You guys continue. I'll be leaving first." While speaking, Xiao Changtian also left Lung Mei and the red-clothed woman's room. Originally, he wanted to give her some antidote pills. She didn't expect Miss Lung and the Red Spectre girls to have such a hobby. It seemed that the people in the cultivation world were quite open-minded. He was probably excited to come to this place. With this thought in mind, Xiao Changtian returned to his room. After getting rid of the erotic scene she had just seen, she fell asleep immediately. A night of silence. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.